Hey, it is the Giant Bombcast for Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. I'm Brad Shoemaker, pleased to introduce you to your brand new Teletubbies lineup, Jeff Gersman.
Ha! Jesus.
Hi. Hi.
Ha!
Danny O'Dwyer, top of the morning to you.
Oh!
It was a horrible mistake, Jason A. Striker. Who brought this? Jan, do we have you to thank for this?
You're welcome. I'm glad I can keep y'all updated on children's programming.
Okay, as the official Giant Bombcast Teletubbies ambassador, what is your Teletubbies name? What's your
Well, so it's your favorite color. It's your mother's maiden name, the last 4 digits of your social security number.
Let's say OD.
Odie?
Yeah. No. OD. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then my antenna is shaped like the cool S.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool.
Or I have to combine my antenna with someone else's antenna, and then we make the cool S.
That's
Okay.
disgusting.
Yeah.
That's how Teletubby babies are made.
Tiddly tubbies.
Are you in the age bracket, Jan? Like, was
No.
that actual straight up childhood for you? Okay, I'm not.
No.
I just wanted to be clear.
So you've just recently gotten into them. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything's cyclical. People picking up old hobbies and stuff, or watching old programming. Why
That
not?
comes around. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a whole second run of Teletubbies later on that seems way
like
worse.
G1,
I guess now you're saying they're babies, but maybe that was the second series and I just wasn't paying attention or whatever. But we've tried out a little Teletubbies around the house just to kind of see how it goes down. And that newer stuff was like double ass. Like the early Teletubbies was kind of a little rough to watch, but I could at least see the appeal. But man, that later stuff just seemed grim in a different way.
Is Teletubbies the one with the creepy person's face in the sun?
It's a
Yeah,
baby.
Yeah, it's a
Brad,
baby.
Do you think babies are creepy?
Yeah.
Oh, when their face is coming out of the sun, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not where a baby's face belongs.
It's a little creepy. I mean, if you're
It's a
the
little bit
baby
weird.
looking in on the world of Teletubbies through the lens of the sun, I mean, if you want to think about the true nature of the Teletubbies, we could be here a while. But
we go back to the Bible.
Let's do it.
Teaching children
Yeah.
that they're the center of the solar system.
it's like the last episode pull out and it's just a baby holding up like a bright light and staring into it and then just going like, and then throwing it aside and pooping their pants or something. I don't know.
I think it's a flat Earth, is what it shows.
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah, that explains way too much.
Yeah.
About current society.
Do you think there's like a knockoff console somewhere at some flea market where the face buttons are just the Teletubby symbols?
Was there ever
I'd
a
like
game?
to think so.
Was there ever a Teletubby? Surely, right? There was a Spice Girls game. Surely there was a Teletubbies game.
Oh. Yeah, but the Spice Girls were good. So
Did you have to make tubby custard? And yeah,
I'm sorry.
Okay, now,
Could you rephrase the question?
Tubby custard.
I guess that's how what are they called? The baby ones? I guess
Tiddly-
that's how they're
oh.
made.
Tiddly Tub.
Yeah.
Play with the Teletubbies for PlayStation 1 by Asylum Entertainment.
Wow.
Okay. How come? Why have I not seen a where is the Teletubby baby now kind of clickbait webpage? Like right up there, it was like, here's the kid from the Nevermind album cover, and here is the Teletubby baby. Look how old you are.
I think those stories probably just only run in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah. That baby is now, I think, running the European Super
It's
League.
Boris Johnson, I think.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Didn't the Teletubbies have like this weird sentient vacuum?
Yeah, Snoo, baby. Isn't that his name? Snoo. Used to
Noo-Noo.
Noo. Was it?
Noo-Noo.
Oh yeah, Snoo's what I think that's a Futurama thing. He would always steal the tubby custard. That was He was basically like a sort of a precursor to the what do you call those Roombas? He was basically like a bipedal Roomba or a quadpedal Roomba.
It's like a naughty vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
naughty.
Naughty vacuum cleaners.
I don't know if I can ever hear the phrase tubby custard again. I really can't. I'm sorry.
Fill this naughty vacuum cleaner full of your tubby custard.
Bob, please.
Offer code Bombcast.
I went to a private school from like K to 8th grade, and I remember during the 4th grade, a priest coming to our classroom and denouncing the Teletubbies.
Someone had to.
What? Because I think like for some reason people were getting up in arms that Tinky Winky was gay or something.
They thought God. There was all kinds of weird televangelist panic around the Teletubbies because it was like there was one that was purple. And had a triangle, and they're like, "Oh, the triangles, that's a gay thing." You're like, "What?" And then had a purse, I think, also.
I thought that was the Illuminati. It's
same
all
thing.
the same.
I don't know. Yeah. Yes. No. There were definitely like a lot of news reports around that stuff.
I remember that
in the day. Yeah.
I wonder what
just dumb.
Think of.
So did that get you to stop watching Teletubbies? Did you see that and be like,
"No"?
Well,
went full in on that point. Me and the crew, we were like, "We don't stand for that. We're allies."
That's right.
Man, when I was in grade school, it was like a cop showing up in the classroom with like a baggie of weed and like shaking it at you and like making
saying, "I gotta plant this in your car, motherfuckers."
Yes, they were. Yes, there was a lesson being imparted there, but perhaps not the one they wanted.
I dodged. I don't know what happened, but like I just must have either a couple years too early or just the wrong elementary school or something like that. But I never went through any kind of DARE program, like don't do drugs, anything. It was just all over television. Yeah, exactly. But it was all over TV. I mean, like that was, Nancy Reagan was in full fucking effect through all that shit. So like there was definitely a lot of it on television, like all the "this is your brain on drugs" and all that other stuff was everywhere. But like I never got it in school, and like a lot of my friends who went to different elementary schools or were maybe like 2 years younger than I was, they got the full pack of like everyone going into the assembly room and here's a cop sitting backwards on the chair going like, "I'm gonna kick it to you straight, kids," about straight dope, don't do it or whatever. I wish I could have seen that because it seems like it would have been hilarious.
We used to get two sex ed classes. We used to get the one that was sort of like the government version of it, and then inevitably one of our brothers, the Christian brothers, De La Salle brothers who ran our school, would give us a religious tape that was like 20 years earlier and was like, a nun talking about periods, and it was just like the worst. Like you just like wanted to die. It was just like, I'm gonna try and not remember anything over the next hour. This is how. Yeah,
this is so far maybe the least comfortable episode of this podcast to date.
I got all my menstruation training in the computer room in junior high. It was the same room that all the computer classes were in, was where the health class was. So it was just I'm surrounded by all these Apple IIs, and I'm going like, man, these Apple IIs, if I could just hang out and play Lode Runner, that would be great. But instead I've got to watch this slideshow about fallopian tubes, and what are we even doing?
I got my training on the street.
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
All right. Good God Almighty.
Homeschooled.
Yes, indeed. We're gonna start with news this week because I need to cleanse my mind of everything that was just discussed, and also all kinds of stuff's happening since yesterday. I feel like the bulk of this list of news stories has happened in the last 24 hours. So here we are. What do you think is the most important on this list? I think it's the PlayStation Store. It's probably the PlayStation Store.
Is it Man City and Chelsea on the verge of backing out of the European Super League?
I don't know. What do you think, Danny?
Well, I have dumped British football, European football for my new favorite sport, MLB The Show. So I'm sure we'll get into it later on. But that's a nightmare. That's just a land grab, and it seems like everyone hates it, which is amazing. I'm like side by side with like dirty Tottenham fan Gary Whitta on this one. We're like, it's like brought like
lockstep.
Yeah, we're like houses that have been fighting for generations are suddenly like, coming together to
united in common cause.
Exactly. Yeah.
What is the cause? Like, what's good? Did you say Man U?
Oh yeah,
Man
he's a
City.
Spurs. Yeah.
What is going
City, Man United, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, and Liverpool, and then 2 clubs from Spain, and I think 3 from Serie A in Italy are basically like trying to create a breakaway European tournament. So they wouldn't leave their domestic leagues, but they'd leave the European tournament that exists and has done for, forever. But the implication of this is way worse, because basically what they're doing is creating a closed system outside of UEFA and FIFA, which is supposed to, be a sort of a pyramid of funding, right? So like the big clubs, it all trickles down to the lower leagues and the lower leagues again, during a time where like loads of clubs in those lower leagues are going out of business, of course, because of COVID and everything else. But I think the implication being that like this is where it gets kind of like dirty and awful, is that even when COVID was happening, they were still making money, because the real money they've sort of all figured out in football isn't actually in the local fans. It's in these big brands having global audiences. So effectively they can be like, they'll pluck Manchester United out of Manchester, in terms of the way that they're making money, and make a closed system. So basically all of football has reacted like white blood cells to this.
And now Talk Sport is reporting that all 12 clubs are meeting tonight to discuss disbanding the league.
Holy shit.
And that Chelsea and Man City are set to pull out. That was 48 seconds ago. So it's
evolving
situation.
Yes,
because they're basically saying like, everyone in football is saying like, and me including fans of these teams are like, ban them, like kick us out of Europe right now, kick us out of the Premier League. Like this is
right. Yeah,
this is like, it's like a salt earth policy for fans, because this is.
I mean, I feel like I don't know a goddamn thing about soccer. But,
says the man wearing a soccer jersey as we're recording this.
But one thing, I feel like anything that's getting people to say like, no man, stick with FIFA, that organization. Anything that's getting people in support of FIFA is probably.
This is so unlike European football to pull something shady. Like, is FIFA still like hilariously corrupt?
Yeah, and UEFA as well aren't exactly, they're like lining their own pockets, and the Champions League makes something ridiculous, like billions and billions a year, and they distribute it as they want. So you are 100% correct. There is like no good horse in this race. What it kind of is like late capitalism catching up with soccer. Like Barcelona is apparently like 2 billion in debt. Like how? They're like in a league with 2 other good teams. Like how did they get in that much debt? It's because the price of teams and the price of players has just gotten to this absurd level, that like apparently the biggest clubs in Europe now will go into bankruptcy if they don't form their own league. It's complete nonsense. So
they just need to learn what all the baseball teams here learned is like, okay, you've got your team colors, but also sell a black version of the hat. Because people are, it's like people all over the country are just buying White Sox hats and LA Kings hats, and they don't even know what hockey is because they have a cool black hat. So just make black hats.
You should see the amount of like Yankees hats you'll see in Europe from people who,
sure. Yeah.
I bet.
They're just like,
never watched the baseball game. Yeah, it's a nightmare. Football's a nightmare.
I bought NFL Europe jerseys. I had like a Frankfurt Galaxy jersey,
wow.
Because I was up too late drinking once. And
did you say what I think you just said? Was that
NFL Europe? Yes.
American football was played in Europe? What?
Yeah. There was like an NFL offshoot league in Europe that had like the Frankfurt Galaxy and a bunch of other teams.
Wow.
But like, so, you as you do when you have a satellite dish in your house and a bunch of beer, you end up watching a lot of bad television for a while. And you're like, wait, they got football teams. What play over? Who even are these people? That's a cool looking jersey, though. I bet I could get it for $1. So the good thing about being someone who doesn't like sports but does like jerseys is that you can find teams like that, and no one at the grocery market's ever going to go like, "Hey, man, did you catch the game last night?" And you have to go like, "What?" Like you do when you're wearing like, oh, I'm out here wearing my A's jersey, and they're like, "Ah, man, Nick Swisher," and I'm like, "Yeah, tell me about it."
Yeah, I had the same problem when I started getting into the Bowie Bay Sox in Maryland. They're like the AA team for the Orioles. And like the first time I went to a game, I got a cap. And then like the next day in Safeway, somebody was like, "Did you see the such and such?" And I was like, "Oh shit, I have to watch these games more." So I ended up really getting into them because of social pressure.
Those are the options. You either get way into the team or you just like swap it out for something else, and you just go like, "That's why I've got an Expos hat around here." No one's gonna go like, "Hey man, did you see the Montreal Expos game last night?" It's never going to happen, and I can still be trapped in the '80s and be like, "Man, Tim Raines, that guy's good."
Or you just get really good at faking it when people talk to you.
Yes, yes, I did. I was dating a girl who got me a Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey once, and I was looking at it going like, I don't know why you would. Do
you like Pirates?
Okay. No, but you know what? It was number 40, which might have played a role. I drank a lot of 40s then, I guess. Maybe I don't know. Piecing this together now, I'm like, I have no idea, man. And I would wear it from time to time, and then people would go like, "Yeah, Bucks, baby," and I'd be like, "Yes, Bucks, baby."
Yes, Bucks, baby.
That's right. Just learn all the hand signals. You'll be fine.
Yeah, it's like
baseball has hand signals.
Yeah, it's like if you're beating on the garbage can, it's a fastball.
Yeah, there we go. See, united in our hatred of the Astros.
Yes, except for those '80s Astros jersey, which I bought one of those. I have one of those around here somewhere too.
You know who else hates the Astros? Jim Ryan.
Jim Ryan?
Sony Interactive Entertainments. You know what he loves, though? Listening to the fans of the PlayStation brand.
He loves old games. He loves old video games.
Turns out
he's a friend of the retro preservationist.
Huge fan.
Yeah. Turns out Jim Ryan loves PlayStation games from, let's say, between like 8 and 14 years ago.
Unless they were on the PSP, then fuck that.
So yes,
yes. That ship has sailed. I don't think anyone has a legit PSP anymore.
Well, so I think I want to say all the PSP firmware stuff got cracked more than 14 years ago, if I had to guess.
All right.
So that thing was the thing is no longer going concern. Yeah, they backpedaled on the closure of the PlayStation 3 and Vita stores, not the PSP store. That is still closing on July 2nd.
Literally a day after I dropped $50 in that goddamn store.
Oh
Jesus
man.
Christ.
That was the plan all along, baby.
It was.
They gotcha.
Go download Archer McLean's Mercury.
God,
it's a good game.
Put that one on the list. I forgot about that.
No,
one.
There's no good colorblind mode in that. So
oh god, that's impossible.
So, yeah, it was impossible. It was always like, oh, this game looks awesome. Oh wait, I can't get past level 3. It's like, now mix these colors. Like,
who was Archer McLean again?
He was an Amiga developer. He made a bunch of famous pool game, Archer McLean's Pool, which for years I thought he was a famous pool player.
Yeah, same here.
It's like Chris Sawyer's Roller Coaster Tycoon. That's all.
I was going to say. So he put himself on that list of developers who put their name on the box.
Yeah, he's right there with
right up
American
McGee, Sid Meier and American McGee. But like, I feel like you can't do that if people go, "Who is that again?" when they see it.
Archer McLean is going to make you his friend.
Yes. Okay. Oh boy. This blog post went up on the PlayStation blog kind of out of nowhere yesterday, bylined by Jim Ryan himself, president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment.
Which no doubt went through a couple passes.
Yeah, I guess the feedback might actually be getting to them on some of this stuff. Like it's pretty contrite. Recently, we notified players that the PlayStation Store for PS3 and PS Vita devices was planned to end this summer. Upon further reflection, however, it's clear that we made the wrong decision here. I feel like throwing "here" in there at the end makes it kind of casual and like down to earth. You know what I mean? Like that's
right. Yeah, it's
that's the sitting backwards on the chair of this blog post. We made the wrong decision here.
Don't smoke weed.
Yes. So that's kind of the long and short of it. They just, there's no it's not like they're pushing the date of closure out. They're just straight up saying it will continue on these two platforms. So
God, I want to know why it wasn't then, because in my head I was like, maybe there's a super or a more reasonable explanation for this. Like there's just too many contracts to redraw, or did they say anything?
There's a couple lines in here about why they were pushing to do this. The decision, he says, was born out of a number of factors, including commerce support challenges for older devices and the ability for us to focus more of our resources on newer devices where a majority of our gamers are playing. So he doesn't like come out and say like, "Hey, these old stores were holding back our new technology" or anything like that. It's
just taking resources.
It just sounds like, hey, we would have to have a couple of people dedicated to keeping these things afloat. And
commerce support challenges.
Well, sound a whole lot
what
like,
is that? Sure does sound a whole lot like hey, trying to sell games on platforms that have been cracked wide open is not great.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe it's just like, is there something like, credit card verification has changed in such a way that we will have to issue a firmware update to stay current and continue to accept credit cards, or is there something like that would be a part of this? But
just having like a customer support portal available for these transactions, even, like just having to have folks employed that they'd like to redistribute to different parts of the company, maybe, like.
I mean, the PS5 store could use a lot of work, so I could see wanting to put all hands on it right now. And hey, if we cut this, if we like, is there someone in some meeting somewhere going like, well, if you didn't keep making me support this PS3 store, maybe I could put more people on the real problem. And they're like, well, fucking shut it down. But like, maybe the answer is hire somebody instead. So I don't know. Archer McLean also designed International Karate and IK Plus.
Oh, you're kidding!
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, so
how is it?
Like,
he has his name on the wrong game.
I know exactly. Like,
wow.
That's it made a huge mistake there. But anyway,
also I love how the hard pivot from 2D fighting game to pool 3D pool game in a there was not many 3D games on those old Commodore systems.
Exactly. So that's cool that they're not shutting those down, but also does this end up being like the hey, we're not going to make this console be always online or all this other stuff. Instead, we're just going to try to make our digital store better so that you forget that used games were ever a thing. Is it like do they just go like, oh, well, let's just do it slower and stretch this out enough to where like really no one remembers, and which is probably what they should have done to begin with.
I mean, it can't last forever, right?
Yeah, it could, right? I mean,
everything is sunsetted eventually.
Too true. But I think for digital sales on consoles to work in a lasting way, you have to continue to earn customer trust, and shutting these stores down does the opposite of that. So, like, eventually maybe that stuff breaks because for one reason or another, but I would think you would want to just leave it up indefinitely to keep people feeling good about the money they have spent so far, so that they continue to spend money and continue to invest in your platforms and all that other stuff.
Yes. I was just looking for, I had an email, which is now no longer current. That was basically, this was before this news broke, asking like, hey, what are you guys desperately like panic buying off of those stores right now? What did you get, Jason?
Oh man, I got some old RPGs, some Square stuff, and rounded out my fighting game stuff that I probably bought the third or fourth time now. Who knows?
Got to make sure. Were you guys contemplating like jumping on there? Like it was definitely tweaking my anxiety of like, I don't think I have Echochrome. Maybe I should go make sure I have that.
Wow. The only one that I wanted to get was Tokyo Jungle is on PlayStation Now, and my wife plays that a bunch every now and again, but you can't get the DLC on PlayStation Now, obviously, because you're just streaming like a remote version. So I thought, I should get Tokyo Jungle and the DLC, because the DLC in that game is funny. It's like I think there's a Saturday Man and there's like elephants and giraffes and stuff. So thought about that, but most of my hardware from that era is European, so I can't like. What am I going to do? Like my European Vita or place? I don't have a place. Right. I just recently got a PlayStation 3 actually for a project we're doing over here. But so I wasn't in a great spot for that.
So how much, it's been a while since I've played it. How relevant is the text in Tokyo Jungle? Because that came out on disc in Japan. Like I imported that before it came out over here.
Oh, right.
Thinking it would never come out over here. I don't believe so.
Yeah,
I thought
the Last Guy also released on disc in Japan, apparently.
Really?
That was one of the other standouts for me.
That had like Fat Princess and Tokyo Jungle.
Yes, Tokyo Jungle is on the compilation disc, I believe.
Got it.
That came out here.
Got it.
I wonder if that has the DLC on it then, because that would have been presumably a decent amount of time afterwards.
Yeah. And didn't the price of that skyrocket? I wonder if those people are now just like,
That collection sold out like everywhere instantly once this news came out.
Right.
I became aware folks who were selling those PlayStation, those PlayStation 3 games were going to get super rare.
Yes,
overnight, right?
Yes, not so much now. Like based on the panic around this news, I became aware over the weekend of efforts that are ongoing to back up the entirety of PSN.
Wow.
Jeff was nodding his head knowingly. I was not. I assumed this would happen sooner or later. I didn't realize it was already like this deep in though, because like the internet, like across the board, like the internet steps in and does the preservation work that companies do not to honor their own history at this point. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of, it's like, it's a sad state of affairs that you have to rely on the community to do this stuff. But I have like the utmost faith that they will do it these days. You know what I mean? Like I was sitting here looking at people talking about archiving, like I'm talking like every patch for every game on the PS3. Wow. Not just like games that are sold on PSN, like literally all the title updates for every title on that system. It's just like,
damn,
terabytes of data being scraped off CDNs and preserved for the future. Yes. Like if you've got disc games in the future, like 20 years from now, if those servers are no longer around, like some of those discs are useless without the patches. You need to actually make those games go, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah, they'll be, especially if you bought DLC and so you have the entitlement to play a DLC, but you can't get the patch that adds support for that DLC. And we saw this like last week. It seemed like some disc games stopped patching on PS3. Like they stopped taking a patch. So I don't know if that's going to get fixed too, or if that was just something that was broken for a while and people only noticed it in the wake of this. But yes, to your point, yes, there are. The same way you can get DAT files for every NES game, you can get DAT files for every PS3 firmware update and not every, but as it is cataloged today, of just like, here's the verified hash for this package file that is Tokyo Jungle. Here's the package file that is the patch, and and that stuff becomes relevant in emulation as well because because you can take a PS3 disc and manipulate it in such a way that you can play it on a PC, but your PC can't pull patches from PSN, not yet, at least directly in the emulator. So it becomes a process of like, okay, well, here's the URL to this patch, and it'll come down as a PKG, just straight up package, and then you can install that package via the emulator to patch your disc to run the right version of the game. So people have been like working with those files in different forms for years and years now. So there's already been efforts underway for the longest time to try to catalog all of that stuff along the way. I just think as the store was getting shut down, there was probably usually what you have in these situations is you have people like cobbling together like, okay, what are we missing? What do we know that's out there in different regions of stores that we know we don't have that someone needs to go buy right now before this stuff all gets shut down? You saw that happen around WiiWare and some of the DSi shop stuff too, that was like, okay, we've got to get our hands on the pristine, like not modified or fucked up by weird pirates and cracked and all this other crap. Like what's the legit full version of this file to kind of document and preserve. So yeah, those efforts I'm sure started around the announcement of the PS3 stuff, like in real earnest. And this isn't going to stop them because they're going to look at it and go like, oh, we should just get this done. We're already kind of probably on a roll. So finish it up and move on.
It's amazing. It makes me feel very good to know that people are doing that work.
Totally. And the process of, like actually getting those packages and all the other stuff to run on a real PS3, it's a bit of a process, but it's doable.
Sure. Yes. And, as always, if these companies were more interested in preserving that stuff themselves, it would not be necessary.
Yeah, you were talking about people using storing downloaded games from those CDNs on their NAS, almost setting it up as like a proxy.
Yes. There's all kinds of like weird DNS redirect stuff you can do to just host all that stuff locally. That's how I found out about this. Was somebody on a Discord I'm on was straight up just like, hey, if you need any PSN patches, like you could just point your PS3 at my server.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there are all kinds of ways to proxy and locally store that stuff, which is kind of ridiculous and amazing.
I mean, in a world where the PS5 hard drive is as small as it is, that is like more meaningful than ever, because you're like, well, I don't want to go download 80 gigs all over again, but if it's sitting on a separate server locally and I can just pull it that way, why wouldn't I?
If I just store every PS5 game you own on your NAS and just reinstall as necessary.
Yeah.
Oh, strange times that we live in.
Yeah.
But this is cool. Like it's sad that it took that much outcry, but it's nice to actually see them paying attention. Like right off the back of this VR pivot that they've done over the last few months, it feels like maybe some tense conversations might be going on internally of just like, wait, this is on fire. We need to address this. We need to massage this messaging in a major way.
Sony feels like it's a little all over the place right now.
Yeah.
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, like, again, I'm reminded, I know we're talking about news right now, but I'm sitting here looking at this PlayStation blog post, and right at the top is a gigantic banner ad for MLB The Show 21.
Right.
It's just such a strange, weird times over there.
I just got some Xbox achievements in that game.
Now, we'll save it. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'll just go through the other Sony stuff real fast here. They announced a date for Days Gone PC, which is May 18th, which is less than a month from now.
Cool.
That had been announced,
Horizon
right?
is also on it's free at the moment. Just speaking of games that have made their way over to PC,
and that's just their kind of COVID pandemic like nice gesture. Here's a free game thing, right? There's no strings attached. You can just, and I want to say the DLC is in that as well.
Yeah. It is
complete edition. Yeah,
that's a hell of a lot of game. That's go get Horizon if you don't own it already. That's a serious deal. They had talked about Days Gone PC previously, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah. So this says that it has 21:9 ultra wide support and unlocked frame rates. That's a lot of freakers on screen at once.
Too many freakers. I wonder if this will. People were not super stoked about Horizon at launch on PC.
Yeah,
because I remember it like we're seeing reports about performance issues and some just missing graphical features and stuff that you would want out of a PC port. So I wonder if this will be a better swing from them on that. But
yes. One would hope. I still haven't gotten the sense that Horizon has gotten all the way there on PC yet, unfortunately. That's coming to Steam and Epic. Speaking of which, Sony has also added another $200 million to its investment in Epic Games. After
I didn't know that.
They put in $250 million last summer, and now they have added another $200 million. Epic, those scrappy upstarts that are worth. Right. Let me check my notes here. $28.7 billion.
Billion?
Yeah, billion.
Yes. Billion, yes.
Because they just raised another. This is part of them raising another billion, right?
Yes.
People love Jazz Jack's
Rabbit. Like, hey, thanks, kid.
Jazz Jackrabbit has never been hotter. Yeah, I mean, in light of an evaluation like that, I mean, $200 million is not that much, but still, it's just seeing Sony kind of very tentatively getting its tendrils out there into PC and markets like that,
So I guess remember that Unreal gets used for a lot of TV and film, and that this comes from Sony Group, not necessarily
sure
SIE, but so you end up in a situation where like, hey, Unreal actually powers or is starting to power an increasing amount of TV and film production. Plus, you've got this whole like, you want to talk about like you want to go raise a bunch of money right now? Okay, great. Let's start using the word metaverse over and over again until we are all fucking billionaires. Like that is the Ready Player One, like what Fortnite has done around concerts and all that other stuff. What you see around Space Jam and all this other IP coming into it, the same way Ready Player One did. Like, and Fortnite more recently bringing in all of these characters from just different IPs and stuff colliding. That is something that a lot of investors and a lot of people are very big on right now, especially if you really want to swing fucking for the fences here. Make sure that those IPs are tied to NFTs on the blockchain, and then pitch people on the idea that you're going to buy this Lara Croft shotgun, and then what if you could bring it to any game, man? Forget the part where that's not feasible or like something that a lot of game developers would do, and that any of the games that have been doing this are any good or not. But like that right now, I think is, and maybe that window is going to close here pretty soon because I feel like that's probably being pitched so fucking hard, so many different ways.
I was going to say you were just saying random buzzwords at this point.
Yes, that's how money is made. I don't know.
That's what that is. Yes, that's what that is.
You just shout that shit loud enough and wear a nice suit, and then the money shows up. I think that's how that works. But yeah, this Polygon story even gets into like, Sweeney's comments reference the investor support of Epic Games' expanding concept of the metaverse. And yeah, as they bring all this stuff together, like that is going to be, you're going to keep seeing a lot of. You're going to keep seeing a lot of effort pushed in that direction. And I suspect that a lot of this money that Epic is raising is stuff that they're going to try to kind of push Fortnite or their tech or whatever it ends up being even further into that direction.
I just hope we don't forget the original metaverse of that id Software put together, which of course was Eminem and Dr. Dre in Quake 3.
Yeah, back when it mattered.
Yeah.
That map was terrible though. It was
like
a
map as well. Oh, there was. You're right. It was like a street map.
Like, with like a bar and a strip club and all this crap. Like the streets
was it from the music video? For like Still Dre or something? No, surely
I don't think so. Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen that map. I
forgot about the map.
Got out there in multiplayer, of course.
There definitely was a map. There was like no verticality to it. It was just
I have to see that.
Yeah, it's just a street. You know, it was just an urban environment with like super high walls and really wide streets, and so it was just this flat area with a couple of like indoor areas you could go into that would be like like a bar or a strip club or some other crap like that. And I played on that map. I'm going to say in the last 18 months, I was like on like a Nexius server or a Xonotic server or something that was running it or some, I can't remember where, but I was on some random third-party server that had it. And so, of course, I voted for it and said, yes, we need to play on the fucking Eminem and Dr. Dre map. And it had music in it, too. And also, like, logos for the record labels. Like, the record label put it out.
It had, like, a sample looping or something, did it?
Yeah, it had a looping sample. So if you went into the bar, you would hear...
Like Still Dre, the like...
Still Dre,
blank, or something, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it was.
Dang.
So good. That was going to be the future of marketing, man. You just got to make a Quake 3 map.
Let's get Green Day in here. And,
yes.
Well, I guess remember Kingpin, Cypress Hill had all the Kingpin stuff, right?
Oh, that's right. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, what happened to that framed Kingpin poster from The Office? I wonder where that ended up. You remember that?
I do.
I never saw it.
Yeah.
That thing had been around for 20 years or something.
Whenever Kingpin came out, I guess.
Right. Man.
2000.
All right.
Yeah. Zatrix.
Yeah. That's right. God, what
Blast in the past. Yeah.
Zatrix made one of the Quake expansions, right? Didn't they do
maybe
the Reckoning or whatever those things were called?
Might be right.
Were they around
Scourge of
here,
Armagon?
Or were they?
They became Gray Matter.
Oh, huh.
So
in my head, all of those companies were in Texas. In my head,
they absolutely were, except for Raven.
Oh, they were.
Everybody, except for Raven being up in Wisconsin. Everybody else was just orbiting around id Software.
Yeah,
in Mesquite or whatever it was.
Mesquite, Texas. Yeah,
that's right. All right, another late breaking news. I mean, this is like moments before the podcast started. Jeff Kaplan is departing Blizzard. Jeff Kaplan of Overwatch fame. He's kind of the guy. And yeah, he's getting out of there. You know, they're of course handing off leadership on Overwatch 2 to let's see, Aaron Keller, Aaron Keller, who they'd also describe as a Blizzard veteran and founding member of the Overwatch team, taking over for Overwatch 2. But Kaplan has like made himself the face of that game in a way I have not seen many people make themselves the face of games.
Oh yeah.
In a long time. Like just his messaging, his outreach efforts to a community that I'm sure is like extremely demanding.
I think, you know, like
pretty impressive to watch.
It gave people the impression that the company really was listening, you know, and I think that only helped that game gain the foothold that it got in terms of just like overall community and like people really feeling like they own a piece of that game and feeling good about cosplay and all this other stuff. Like, I think Kaplan's efforts probably only helped in that. How long has he been there? Like,
19 years is what he says. Jeez. So that puts him, that's about Warcraft 3 release era before World of Warcraft came out.
Okay.
So Yeah, he put in his time.
So he's not an old timer then.
Well, no. It's not some Silicon and Synapse guy or whatever. But,
right. I mean, how long has Activision owned Blizzard?
5?
What was it? 2000, when did that happen? It was like around 2008, I think that Vivendi deal went down. I mean, remember, it was like
that far ago. Wow.
It was, what was the deal? Vivendi owned Blizzard and they merged with Activision, right? It wasn't.
So it wasn't like a pure.
It was not a top-down. Activision bought Blizzard. It was Blizzard was part of this entity that is merging with Activision.
Okay.
Then the Activision leadership is kind of getting the primacy in that arrangement because they are killing it. I think that's how that worked. It was very. I mean, you remember,
killing it, you mean killing Blizzard, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a very slow death. Yes. You know, Blizzard has been owned by parent companies since like the mid '90s, right? Like that was
right.
Not some new thing, but.
The thing I was going to say is like that's more than enough time for whatever earn out or whatever retention agreements that would have been in place to keep people in place and keep people getting bonuses or whatever. Like they all would have been paid out long before now, I would guess.
Yes.
But if maybe it was a different scenario. Yeah, but it just seems like reading this and you're like, yep. I mean, people are getting out of Blizzard. You know,
when we did our Overwatch series on GameSpot ages ago now, it was Metzen, Kaplan, and Keller we talked to the most. So he's kind of like the there's been like waves, right, of like you said, Jeff, like a lot of people got paid out and they kind of left at that stage. Like we lost like Moorheim and all them left ages ago, right, at this stage. Whereas I'm not sure why Kaplan's leaving, but this guy was the assistant game director back at the start. He was part of the original World of Warcraft dungeon team, so he does look like an old head there, but in a company where there are increasingly fewer of those people, it seems like.
Yeah. And it's not like, you know, he got Overwatch 2 right up to the finish line and now he's kind of like taken off as it's coasting to the finish line, or, you know, to release or whatever. Because like they said in that earnings report recently that they do not project Overwatch 2 to be released in 2021. So like that project is a ways off.
It's got to be a hard problem. Like for as popular as Overwatch still is, and even though you don't maybe hear about it quite so much these days, like their initial pitch for what Overwatch 2 sounded super weird. They've went super hard into esports, but the Overwatch 2 pitch was like, what if we put a bunch of PvE stuff in it? Like they're trying to win back the more casual fan base. But it's that stuff doesn't seem like it always lines up super well. So I don't know. Yeah. Maybe they've had, just kind of guessing here, but maybe that project has been tumultuous. Who can say? But
certainly possible. Also, like every name you can think of from old Blizzard is out there starting something new right now.
Right.
That's true.
all those big creatives that he came up with back in the day have got new projects brewing. So who knows?
It's funny whenever we like talk to folks in that area, there's loads of like job like switching in that sort of pocket, except at Blizzard. Blizzard was always the place that like, oh, if you get a landed job at Blizzard, you probably never leave. But like a lot of the other places, like you go to maybe Obsidian was slightly like that as well. It certainly is now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But now increasingly
Riot's down there too, right? Is that?
Yeah, I guess they're in LA proper. I guess they're not in Orange County, Anaheim, but yeah, I guess and I mean they've just exploded in size in the past. They're in Santa Monica. They've exploded in size in the past couple of years too.
Doesn't Tencent have something down there?
Oh, I don't know if they have their own.
They might have something down there, but I'm just safe to assume Tencent has something everywhere these days.
Probably. I mean, I thought Tencent was like heavily invested in Riot, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Yeah, and a lot of they're
at least
and Epic
some.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Riot is straight up a subsidiary of Tencent. So yes, they definitely have something down there. So yeah, I mean, who knows? So like Overwatch 2 could turn out just fine, but it's a pretty conspicuous departure for that game.
There's a separate. I'm looking at job listings for some stuff that just says Tencent in Irvine. Doesn't say Riot.
Oh yeah, and that wouldn't be Irvine. Wouldn't be them either. Wouldn't be Riot.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? Maybe they have. I'm sure they have multiple offices, but their campus is in Santa Monica.
Senior lead technical artist rigging, Lightspeed LA lead writer. Okay, that's a different thing. Orange, California, Irvine, California. Senior tech artist, tools and pipeline overview. I don't know. There's something going on down there.
I'm sure Epic have a big one there, if nothing else than for the movie stuff, like all the.
Oh, sure.
Whatever they call that thing. What is it? The Mandalorian orb thing?
The
void.
What do they call that thing? The volume? I think it's called the volume.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they have loads of stuff there.
Everybody doing everything these days. Except Microsoft. You know what they're not doing? Buying Discord.
Shutting down the PS3 store?
It appears... As of when I loaded this a few minutes ago, it had posted like 2 minutes prior on the Wall Street Journal. Discord ends deal talks with Microsoft. All those rumors have been going around. The Discord was going to get picked up by Microsoft for like $10 billion, and it sounds like that is no longer on the table. And I think, yes, they say Discord is going to stay independent as of right now.
Okay.
And potentially go public. So...
Good.
Right.
I think Discord. I think Discord. I think it would make a lot of sense for someone to want to pick up Discord. I think at the last company we're a part of, I even recommended it a couple of times. Like, I mean, just take a look at these guys before they get too big. And I think they've got a mostly good product. And you think about the last year of people working at home and the spotlight that is put on a lot of these remote solutions. Like, maybe the environment is right as people shift into more remote work and remote interactions and stuff like that, for that IPO to fucking go real well.
Sure.
Right. So
you can definitely
if they're weighing it out, acquisition versus IPO, like,
yeah. At the same time, though, I see a bunch of people saying like, "Oh, thank God Microsoft didn't pick them up; they would have just ruined them."
Sure.
But I don't know that going public is going to treat them much better.
Sure.
If your concern is the sanctity of the Discord service, let me tell you about the expectations of Wall Street.
Just think about the next 3 to 5 years will be really cool, and then at some point, when all of the people who are making all the money in the IPO go like, this is great, I just cashed out big time and my contract is up, I'm going to go found a new company. And then then what's happening at Blizzard happens. That's just how it always works. But
also once their value can't continue to be theoretical and shareholders expect them to start making actual money.
Yes, that's
when you will be reminded that Discord is not the product you are.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess that's the thing is what do you think would be a meaningful business model? Because they try to store and then pulled the plug on it, which was in some ways kind of a baller move. Just this ain't fucking working. We're getting out.
I respected when they put that statement out. I mean, they
totally.
Yeah, I don't know. What do they have besides
Nitro?
Nitro, their subscription service, but I don't know what else they've got going right now.
I'm trying to think because they probably don't. I mean, and maybe they have some operation where they would moderate an official server for a company. Maybe there's some kind of enterprise service. I don't know if they do that. Maybe they could, but hey, if you want to run the Overwatch server, we'll help manage it for this amount of money with your community team or whatever it is. I don't know.
That's kind of been the GitHub model, right? Like free to end users and pretty friendly overall, but you make all your money at the enterprise level from corporations.
Right.
You have to use your product on a larger scale.
I don't know. Discord, I don't know if they're doing that or not, though. But that seems like it would be something of an opportunity. I don't know.
Right.
Are they making much money? It might just be a market share, situation at the moment where they're just
get as big as you can and then sell it or go public. And
that's the model. It's a pretty good product, and it certainly fills a niche. There's a need for something like that. So, and if it all goes to shit, let's just go back to IRC.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say this is Discord has that same feeling of all my very extreme IRC days.
It totally. I was literally talking to people on Discord about that last week. That's like, this is the first thing in like 20 years that has recreated that like ongoing, like tight knit community feeling of hanging out on IRC all the time.
Like it's a client that I feel like I have to have open.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yes. When you leave it idling open all the time, that's when you know they've got you.
Yeah.
The difference is back then you spun up your own server whenever you felt like it, as opposed to now everything is a walled garden controlled by a giant corporation. But
nothing's stopping you from still spinning up those servers.
That's true. That's true.
But when New Brunswick is doing it for you, why just run it off the college server?
Fair. Speaking of acquisitions, the news broke out of Bloomberg Japan last week that Square Enix supposedly been talking to multiple suitors about being acquired. This came from some sources in banking over there. Square pretty quickly came out and denied it. Their statement says, Bloomberg has reported today that there is interest from several buyers to acquire Square Enix. However, this report is not based on any announcement by Square Enix Holdings Company Limited.
Holding soft.
Right. We do not consider selling off the company or any part of its businesses, nor have we received any offer from any third party to acquire the company or any part of its businesses. I feel like that's pretty carefully worded.
Yeah.
To say, no offer is on the table, that doesn't mean discussions aren't taking place at some level of formality, right?
Right. I think that just goes back to that assumption that, like, hey, everyone is always talking about everything, and so that's just natural. The same way this Microsoft Discord stuff, if that's, sometimes people talk and it doesn't happen and you don't ever hear about it. Sometimes you hear about it in a leak or something like that. And I would assume that there was some discussion here from someone, but
yeah. But I mean, I feel like it's also safe to assume once the discussions start making news like this, that they are becoming more serious. It's not just idle chit chat, at that point.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
So like, who's the short list? Like Microsoft, obviously. I feel like that's the go-to at this point. Anytime there's acquisition talk, it's got to be them.
Friendship with Discord over. Friendship.
Right.
Yeah, just taking our Discord money. They're going to let Square Enix create a chat app, and basically they're bringing back Play Online. It's going to be pretty sweet.
Oh yeah,
get your PS2 hard drive installed.
If all the emojis are Moogles, I might be on board with that.
Yeah.
Would Epic be interested in making inroads into Japanese development? That doesn't seem like a great fit, but seems like they have a lot of money.
Yeah, I feel like their acquisitions have been more like, what are games that like fit alongside Fortnite in the free to play or kind of like competitive free to play, like Fall Guys and Rocket League. I feel like those games are kind of a kind that Square Enix isn't really in that business. But
imagine all the users they'd get if they brought Final Fantasy 14 as a free to play Epic Game Store exclusive.
Just keep racking up those losses. It's a few hundred more million.
Right.
To write down. I mean, this did occasion people to go back and dig up some Phil Spencer quotes over the last couple of years where he has very explicitly said, he feels like there is a gap in Asia as far as their portfolio is concerned. Like there is more talent in Asia, specifically in Japan, that he feels like they could be tapping into. So like, it's not just idle speculation about Microsoft has a lot of money and is buying people. Like they have expressed some intent in that direction. So,
but like 2019, does that line up with the Capcom talk or the like there are a lot of other Japanese publishers that would have fit this like quote of like, hey, we're looking at a Japanese studio.
Yes. I'm trying to remember the last E3 where you heard people going like, oh, you're not going to believe who's buying Sega, or you're not going to believe who's buying Capcom.
Right. Yeah. It's like the thing we missed last year is those conversations of people going like, someone's, but
yeah. And then it turns out their information is like a month old and it didn't come together or something like that.
Right.
Man. I'm just trying to sit here and think about how that would go over compared to the Bethesda thing. I feel like it would be an even bigger deal. Like, can you imagine if the Final Fantasy brand was locked to the Xbox platform?
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. I feel with 14, it doesn't feel as PlayStation-y as it did before. Or something.
You're right about that. Yeah.
Well, the MMOs were always divorced from that in a bit. Like 11 came to PC, came to PC also, and at the time that was a weird thing.
Feels like so much of the positive sentiment is actually around the MMO, though, not the single player ones.
That's true. Yeah,
for sure. Currently Square Enix not exactly showing a lot of support on the Xbox side. Like Final Fantasy 16 has not even been announced for any Xbox platforms at this point.
Right. Well, that's always the cadence, right? Is like all the mainline Final Fantasy games get announced as PlayStation games, and then Microsoft has a huge press conference where they're like, "We got Final Fantasy," but it's like the 3 old ones, and you're like, "Right, that's cool. I mean, great, but not
3 years later. Here it is." Yes.
Yeah.
Is 7 remake a PlayStation exclusive? Right.
Yes. Well, they announced it for PC, right?
Right. Okay.
Or did that actually get announced? I can't keep track anymore.
Sure.
I swear to God. It's really been rumored forever.
Right.
I did forget about that one. Seems to be a lot of love around that.
Yeah, but the bulk of the other Square Enix games do come to Xbox. I mean, especially stuff that would be out of like the kind of IDOS family of studios, your Tomb Raiders and your Life is Stranges and stuff like that. That stuff always seems to Avengers, Outriders. That's the sort of stuff that is always coming to Xbox as well. It really is just the stuff out of Japan.
Well, Kingdom Hearts also came out on Xbox, I believe.
Was that day and date for the last one?
Oh, yes. I think 3 was both at the same time. Yes.
So I guess what I'm saying is that Kingdom Hearts also doesn't matter as much as Final Fantasy does.
Gotcha. Or it's unifying everyone.
That's right. Maybe Disney just wants to own all of the characters in Kingdom Hearts now.
Right.
Got to make the metaverse bigger.
Could be them.
Oh, the last thing Disney wants is to get back into proper game development and owning a studio, man.
You're right. You're almost certainly right about that.
I forgot about how big a portfolio Square Enix Europe has.
Oh,
yeah.
Like it's I guess IO Interactive being the one that they sort of got rid of, but like aside from that, like Just Cause. Wait, do they have Legacy of Kain? Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's them. That's totally them. Yeah. There's so many IP that they're sitting on and not using, or maybe it's just Legacy of Kain. But
Gex,
right? The Horde.
Oh, the Horde.
Cameron back in there. Let's make it happen.
He's Bible cows.
Man, Just Cause.
Holding bananas and stuff.
Yep.
Mad Max was them too, right? Yes. Or no, that was Warner, but it was the same.
Did they retain any of the IP once they gave IO Interactive, once IO went independent?
I was just looking that up recently. I want to say they kept like Mini Ninjas.
I think IO kept...
Yeah, the real money makers.
Yes.
Weird.
Like IO got Hitman and
Freedom Fighters. They've
got Freedom Fighters back now, right?
Yeah.
I didn't put it in the news, but I'll mention it since we're talking about it. Did you see that they said gosh, I should pull it up and make sure I've got the numbers exactly right. Like Hitman 3 recouped in like a week, and that it's made like let me triple check revenue.
Because everyone fucked up and had to buy it twice once they realized how all the import stuff worked.
Oh, that's rough. Hitman 3 sold 300% better than Hitman 2 is kind of the headline that's going around. Like it's
how rare must that be? Like
right.
But the third in a series does more than the second.
Yeah.
It's well timed, right? I mean, new consoles are out. People are starved for new stuff to play on new consoles that take advantage of that stuff. So they're all it's.
Also, like that kind of that cumulative approach they took, where like all the games keep carrying over into the next one. Like now that they're portraying this one as like this is the end of the trilogy, this is it. Like, who wouldn't jump in on this and get like, all right, I'm going to get fucking 3 games of content for like $80? Like, why not? Like now's the time. Like that's a pretty strong pitch.
Yeah.
What
especially it's been years of like goodwill and people being excited about the Hitman franchise. So those people that didn't get in, have been hearing about it for years. Like, that is a pretty good deal. Also, I felt a little weird when they like had their deluxe versions and all this other stuff at launch, and then they started selling separate DLC. Like, a few weeks ago, I believe.
Oh, really?
Like, I think the stuff that they are just putting out is now part of like a separate pass or separate thing that just seemed like weird.
Yeah. But yeah, it's that 7 Deadly Sins stuff. I've been meaning to take a look at that stuff. Good for them, though. Like, it sounded like they were maybe on
Did they say if that was
hard times for a little bit?
Yeah. Did they say if that was just from sales of the game, or because I imagine Epic showed up, like backed up a truck to get some amount of exclusivity there for that. So I wonder if that factors into that total. It probably does. Just like, hey, between Epic paying us for exclusivity and selling the game.
Yeah, the language in this PC Gamer story is the game was 300% more commercially successful than previous entry Hitman 2. So, yeah, that probably
commercially successful.
Yes.
Yeah.
But good for them.
Yeah, awesome. I'm really excited to see what they do with someone else's IP. Yeah.
Yes.
That Bond stuff.
Yeah. Yes. Apparently, I don't know if this was news off the back of that. Like, it sounds like they are also working on a new IP as well as the James Bond stuff.
That's what when I interviewed Hassan a couple of years ago, that seemed to be what they were already working on then, and that was pre-3. So
and I want to say they just opened their third studio, their third location.
Malmo, maybe?
Yes, that sounds right.
Was it Budapest? Yeah.
Or maybe
those are levels.
They have they're just going to open offices. They're just location scouting for Hitman maps.
Yeah.
Oh, Barcelona is the new one.
Oh, cool.
Right. Okay. Yes.
Yes. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, that is like, I think they have become like my favorite developer to back. To just be like root for the underdog. Went back out and became independent and is just doing it and making super exciting games.
That's cool.
Real kind of quick E3 housekeeping. Ubisoft has announced that the Ubisoft Forward event is going to take place at noon on Saturday, June 12th. So
yeah,
it's the start of the E3 week. That is it?
Yeah. So you guys may have talked about this the week that I was out, but I guess E3 is like Saturday to Tuesday.
So is that the 12th, the Saturday?
Yes. That is the first. That is the first day.
Kicking it off.
This very well could be the first thing of E3, whatever that is.
But are they? This isn't technically part of E3 though, right? This is just a Ubisoft Forward that is on that Saturday.
No, it says on their site. It says, "Get ready for Ubisoft Forward. Our digital conference goes live June 12th as part of E3 2021."
Okay, all right.
So they are directly affiliated with whatever that thing is at this point.
And I guess Square has confirmed that they will be a part of E3. They were not in that initial press release, but they are now.
Cool.
Let's find out what's going on.
But E3 will start before that. Like most of that week before that, I think will technically be media days. So I imagine that's like, hey, we're going to let the press see some stuff early or play some streaming demos or whatever, and whatever that ends up meaning.
Yeah,
we will see.
Yes, it's a very strange situation, but. Let's see. Capcom did some Resident Evil streaming last week. That little showcase that they ran that proved there are still platforms to port Resident Evil 4 to. Can I interest you in the Oculus Quest 2?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, everyone has such nice things to say about that Resident Evil VR experience before, but man, RE4, it seems like weird to retrofit RE4 for VR, but
kind of because you have to make it first person. But like that footage looks kind of rad, I have to say. Like I sort of scoffed at this news when I saw it, and then I watched the actual footage they put out, and there appears to be manual first person motion controlled typing on the typewriter that you save on.
I hope you have to type save just like something really.
I hope you have to load the ink ribbon, and it takes you like 10 minutes.
There's also footage of the player character, who is, of course, Ricky Copley on as Kennedy, flipping both his pistol and his knife in the air at the same time.
Okay. All right.
And lastly, and perhaps the thing I am most excited about, first-person inventory management, where they straight up like pulling the briefcase tray out and like moving the items around.
Oh, you're kidding.
Dude, I would take a game. I would take a VR game of just the inventory management in that game.
Inventory Tetris,
dude. Like,
it's disgusting, but also
as much of a like cash in as it sounds like off the bat. When I saw what they're doing with it, I'm like, you know what? I could probably get into this. This looks ridiculous. Supposedly Oculus is going to stream some more of that game tomorrow, so I want to see what they are doing with that. But it looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
So does the
they know how to do VR, with 7. So
yeah. Do you think that's locked to Oculus forever? Like I'm not clear how many of the Oculus funded games have then been coming to other platforms.
What does that even mean anymore? Right? Because you can just there's so many middleware things, right?
Yeah, I think. I mean, even if you have to buy it through the Oculus Store, I guess you can still kind of run it on any headset, right?
Well, that depends. If they're saying, "Hey, this is a Quest 2 game," meaning you install it directly to the headset, like that's not a PC game. So if there is a Rift version of this in the regular Oculus Store, which they're not, that's not been a big focus for them, as far as I can tell.
Those different stores. Or different interfaces.
It's 2 tabs on the same store. There are cases where buying one gets you both versions, and that sort of stuff. But they have been focused on the Quest as like the attractive solution for kind of mainstream VR that also works with the PC stuff. But it hasn't really. Yeah, I don't know. Like if this just having a Quest 2 at the front of the trailer, not a Quest 1, just a Quest 2. And all that sort of stuff. That to me says you will probably play this on a Quest, and that's disappointing. And maybe it won't. Maybe it won't be on other platforms.
I mean, RE4 definitely a game old enough. It could probably run on that headset just fine.
Yeah, totally.
So maybe it comes out with the whatever Sony's new PSVR thing is. Eventually, we'll see it there. Maybe.
Yeah,
right.
I sure hope so.
Armature is
also
doing that.
Yeah, who was Armature? I saw that. I tried to remember.
Yeah,
they were the spin-off Retro Studios.
Retro? Right, yes. Oh yeah, they did like Metroid Prime 3, right?
Yeah. The Recore.
Like
well, they worked on Recore.
Right.
Yeah.
Recore. Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate for the PlayStation Vita.
There you go.
Remember that?
Sure.
Yes.
Apparently they ported Duck Game to the Switch.
Also, out of that showcase, they are putting the Mercenaries mode back in Resident Evil Village, which is extremely exciting to me.
Oh.
Because the Mercenaries mode is fucking rad.
What mode is that? I can't remember.
It's just a score attack mode. It's just a combo based, like frantic, like rack up combos and extend your timer as fast as you can kind of thing. Like I played so much of that thing in RE4. It's a very, very good one of those modes.
It's like one of those modes before they started calling them one of those modes, right?
Kind of,
it's like
yeah.
Kind of pre-horde mode.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
It was in that original game, yeah. I think. Or was that the PS2?
On the GameCube?
Anyway,
Oh, okay.
I think it was in the original release, yeah.
I think that's right.
All right. Last story here. CD Projekt Red has put out some tentative earnings estimates for the year of 2020, in which they have absolutely blown away their previous records for annual earnings by a factor of more than 2. So, given everything that happened around the launch of Cyberpunk 2077, take that as you will.
The game had a lot of pre-orders too. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess does that?
I don't know if
What about the tail?
I don't know if that takes refunds into account or anything like that.
Right.
But I bet those refunds are a drop in the bucket. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Where we talk about games online all the time, it seemed like the biggest thing. You know, same with the Sony store stuff in a way. Like, I bet like most people who own PlayStations didn't even hear about this. But similarly with Cyberpunk, I wonder, you know, out of the millions of people who picked this game up when it first came out, how many even realized that there was a big... I guess it did break into the mainstream pretty loud.
Yeah. More than a lot of stories did over the last year, but even then, like how big does that get, and how many of those people are going to seek out refunds? Are going to be like, oh, I got to get my money back for this thing, and then, Yeah, I wonder if there's any kind of difference in the reporting on this financial stuff based on returns back to the retailer, because that's a sale that kind of comes off the books, versus them handling the refund internally and just going like, hey, here's some money and we'll get the disc back from you someday. Actually, just hang on to it. We don't really care. It's just like whatever. It's more money to ship it than it is for you to just keep it and snap it in half, or just keep it.
Send us a photograph of your snapped in half.
Right,
disc,
yeah,
please.
like post to TikTok a video of you snapping the disc in half, please.
Oh wait, don't do that. It's creating a trend. Damn it.
Actually don't. Yep.
I wonder what the tail is on this, because like sentiment wise, they're probably pretty different, right? Because The Witcher, like I feel like continued to sell. It obviously had sales. They had 2 pretty successful expansion packs that also like kept it going as well. Whereas the scuttlebutt around this seems to be that, it was harder to recommend buying that game 3 months after it came out than it was, a week before it came out. So I wonder what that looks like. Did they make a lot of money up front that perhaps they won't see on the other end?
Right. There's always like a delayed reaction effect to this stuff, right? Of like, I think Assassin's Creed Unity did very well because the word had not gotten out by the time that game launched, right? Of the state it was in, but then like the effects on the franchise downstream are when that stuff really starts taking effect, It
reminds me of
someone
like
in chat is sorry. Someone in chat is saying that maybe Cyberpunk didn't crack the top 20 sales for the month of March. So like if they are kind of raking it in, maybe that stuff has started to fall off. But yeah,
5 months later, it's hard to tell. It's like when I worked in retail, this was like one of those things where often you'd see people come in and the name recognition would still be there, and like they're looking for a game for them, whatever, and it's dropped $10, and then it's like, oh great, I'll get that. I wonder how much it has affected the sort of brand of that game. Whether or not people now think that it's fixed or that that was a problem at law. It's hard to tell. But I do feel like players are savvier than most, especially on PC when it comes to these type of buying decisions. But I guess it's a shame that we don't get these Steam Spy numbers anymore. It really used to give us a lot of insight into this stuff.
Right. I have to figure on their part, they're probably just trying to be relatively quiet and release their patches and try to get things in line as they work on the proper PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X versions. And that's probably when they get back out there and try to treat that like it's a new launch, right? Then try to move past this dark phase into like, hey, we're out on new consoles and that's exciting, and yay, Cyberpunk, and let's forget about all that other stuff that happened. And maybe that's when it goes back on PSN. I don't know.
Sure, I could see that. They did put out another smaller patch in the last week or two. Pretty basic, just like bug fixes and some like police spawn tweaks and some stuff like that. Nothing major. So I do wonder if there's a bigger overhaul coming down the line, which is obviously going to take some time. But yeah, there you have it. All right, it's a lot of news.
All right. It's a lot of news.
It was.
I feel sweaty. I've got the news film on me, the news gunk.
Just get a good handful of tubby custard, Brad. You'll feel
that's right.
chipper in no time.
Just get the dip into the tub of custard. Wash all these current events off.
Yuck.
We're gonna take a quick break.
That's not how you use tubby custard.
We'll be right back.
Multivitamins. How do you know which one is right for you? You look at the back of the bottle on these things. You're like, what is this? Where does this even come from? What is this made of? Well, it's like it's just a list of crazy business. Ritual is here to try to cut through all of that and let you know what you're taking every day. Clean, vegan-friendly multivitamins with high-quality nutrients in bioavailable forms that your body can actually use. That's what Ritual is trying to do for you. So you won't find sugars or GMOs or major allergens or synthetic fillers in these vitamins. Just a time-delayed release capsule to make taking those vitamins easy. They sent some of these over. They're mint, like a mint. It's like a mint flavor. Ritual is the multivitamin reimagined. A multivitamin should contain key nutrients and forms your body can actually use to help fill in gaps in your diet. No weird extras, and none of the stuff that you don't need. It's focused on stuff that, you're probably not getting.
Ritual's delayed release capsule design delivers high-quality nutrients, including vitamin D3, in just 2 daily pills. It's got a visible supply chain. Ritual is made traceable, so you know what you're taking and where it comes from. They've got different formulations for women, men, and teens, and Ritual multivitamins are scientifically developed to help support different life stages. They're delivered right to your door every month with free shipping. You can start, snooze, or cancel your subscription at any time, and if you don't love Ritual in the first month, they'll refund your first order. Get key nutrients without the BS. Ritual is offering 10% off during your first 3 months. Visit ritual.com/bomb to start your ritual today. You know 'em, you love 'em. That's right. This episode is brought to you by Unleashed with the Dingo and Danny, a new podcast fueled by Monster Energy. Unleashed gets up close and personal with the best in alternative action and motorsports. Get ready for untold stories, career-defining moments, and inside secrets from the world's best athletes and trailblazers. Don't miss out on all the action. New episodes drop every 2 weeks on Mondays. Listen wherever you get your podcasts or watch on Monster Energy's YouTube. Unleashed with Danny and the Dingo, fueled by Monster Energy.
Jan, it's time to enter the corner.
Oh, yes.
The drama corner.
Oh, the drama corner. Oh,
Does
I don't have
Drama alert.
Does this
Get
qualify
back
as
in the
hot?
drama corner.
Is this goss of some temperature? Is this hot goss?
I don't have the hot goss little graphic
No.
ready, but
Okay.
it is definitely hot goss. Okay.
Okay.
So Pokemon trading cards, right? I think it might have been either beginning of 2020 or 2019 where I came to y'all and confessed that I had started to have a problem with Pokemon cards. And I started buying way too much, and I started playing too much of the online game, and I started buying dollar packs, which are like 3 cards for $1 from the dollar store. I gave the Dollar Tree lady my phone number to hit me up when they get new cards in.
Wow.
Because the
Okay.
hustle is because the hustle
Okay.
is that hard.
Dealer.
But then, I had to take a long look at myself and say, like, I got to stop doing this because I need to pay bills, pretty much.
Okay.
And then, things slowed down, and then I'd see, like, the booster boxes, booster packs, Elite Trainer boxes, which are just, like, 10 booster packs with some other fun stuff in it, popping off. Like, for the folks that are following the Pokemon TCG, I got out around, like, the double team stuff when that started getting added. But then, like, 2020 rolls around, like, I'll see a couple folks at my local Target or Best Buy looking at the cards or whatever, maybe because, like, folks are stuck at home, they just want to play with stuff. But then, as a couple months ago, my barber, who's very avidly collecting Pokemon cards, started telling me, like, yeah, it's getting a little rough out here. People lining up, people like accosting each other. And then I'd heard, because one of my close friends works at like one of the Targets in Daly City, that there was a fight that broke out.
I was say, I bet Daly City Pokemon card fans don't play.
They don't.
Yeah.
And I remember a couple months ago seeing some folks like lining up at like where the cards are in like the Target, and this one dude just swooping in and just like grabbing a tin, and the other dudes that were standing there saying like, yo, what's with the disrespect, man? Blah, blah, blah. You can't just do that. You can't just walk up here. There's an order here. And like the guy that swooped in flipped them off and just like kept walking. And then like the other guys, and one of them, one of the original dudes that were standing there had like a cane, but I don't think he needed the cane. But yeah.
So probably a sword cane then.
Maybe a sword cane. Maybe a sword cane. But apparently, and in the Bay Area at least, and I've heard in some other places, things have gotten so tough at Targets with Pokemon cards that they hold all of them until Friday mornings at 8 o'clock. And apparently, people will line up outside Targets to and every Friday morning they will be allowed into Target at like guest services or whatever to buy boxes or booster packs, and they're only allowed 3 max. And again, according to my homie at Target, people will start lining up Thursday afternoons.
What?
I don't know.
Is this a new thing?
It's weird because I feel like it came out of nowhere, and according to some other friends that are still playing the TCG, part of it is scalpers. Like the sneakerheads are now looking for something else to scalp.
Graphics cards got too out of reach, so
yeah, right. Like, and then on top of that is, for some reason, I guess it became super popular on Twitch, like unboxing streams.
Oh yeah, Jake Paul was doing them. One of those dumbasses was doing. Yeah, he was. Remember, they were making NFTs of them opening the cards and their reactions to opening the cards.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
boxing
and boxing and appearing at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then like I tried going last week to like
old Jeff
smaller,
Brad.
I tried going to a smaller Target last week, and then the dude looks at me and just the front door attendant just looks at me and goes like, "Sorry, bro, there's no cards here."
Whoa.
And I didn't even like tell him
me.
what I was looking for.
He just knows.
You had that mark on you. You had that look.
Get the gleam in your eye.
That motherfucker's trying to catch them all. I should head him off now.
And it's got to a point where my barber and I are planning on waiting outside of Target Friday morning to buy these stupid cards because I am a part of the problem. Gosh. And I feel so bad for the little kids that want to just play Pokemon cards and can't get any. And I am part of that problem. So I bought a bunch of virtual codes so I could open those instead.
What? Virtual ones?
To give myself that little like boost of like dopamine, you know? Like,
oh my God.
It's like, oh, give me that shiny Octillery, baby.
Skinner box me, baby.
Boy.
So I don't. It's a rough world. I got a couple of good things, but it's just like it's so wild that it blew up this way. Because I swear, a couple months ago, it was slightly easier to buy cards willy nilly. You know?
Yeah, I wonder. It's just like a slow decrease in civility as people are no longer used to being around each other as much anymore, and just like a lot of factors at play here.
Maybe
like is this just something that happens every century in the 20s? Global society just loses its mind collectively.
We need to go to war. Is that what you're saying?
Moving into that again. God help us.
Ask me again in 100 years, and then we'll know if it's a trend or not.
Yeah, holy shit. The part where you said that scalpers just need to be scalping, like it's not about the
Scalpers
thing.
Yeah,
it's not even. It's like that puts a very different focus on that activity. When it's like shoes aren't doing it anymore. Can't do the graphics cards. Got to be scalping tickets.
Yeah,
concerts. You know.
I thought it was wild when I started seeing graphics cards pop up on StockX. And StockX is like a popular sneaker selling app. And then I started seeing booster boxes pop up on StockX and Grailed. Grailed of all places. What the hell?
It's
what the fuck is Grailed?
Yeah,
it's another aftermarket like streetwear shoe site type thing. It's just people hustling. Like they don't give a fuck. It's just like, is this the thing we think we can flip and make money on? Great. And then StockX being like the middleman hustle, being like, well, of course we'll support this shit because we can take a cut of all of this bullshit.
Yeah.
Have they started making Pokemon cards with real blood in them yet?
No, not officially.
Okay.
But it's a weird hustle, and I can't believe I'm going to try and participate. I'll report back on UPF.
But like, if you get it, are you going to open those cards? Or are you going to sell them? Like, what's the
Like for me personally, like I want to hold on to them because I do eventually in person want to play with folks again.
Okay.
And I think like that's why I originally started buying them. Is like, oh, I want to eventually like see if there's like a community in the Bay Area that's like willing to play or whatever, maybe pop up to a tournament or whatever. And also most of the packs, like the booster boxes, packs or whatever, come with a digital code to redeem online. So you can, bolster your internet or online collection of Pokemon cards while you're bolstering up the physical stuff. Because like, I don't know, selling the physical cards just seems like way more of a hassle to me personally. But apparently you can get like a chubby Pikachu and sell that crap for like $300.
Okay. Yeah.
The rainbow chubby Pikachu sells for $4, I think.
Yeah. Just hold on to them, and in like 30 years, you could be Paul Reichert.
Maybe.
Right, yeah.
That's the dream.
I've got a bunch of useless baseball cards from the early to mid 90s over here if you want to see how this ends up.
So it's funny because on like the little paper that they have at Targets now, they'll only say baseball cards and football cards, but really we all know it's just Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because I think they even feel embarrassed for everyone. I'm embarrassed that I'm telling the story now.
I don't like where things are going.
Right.
In general.
Yeah.
When was the last time you liked where things were going?
The world feels just very cutthroat lately in a way that's really hard to parse.
On top of that, there are other people lining up at Targets to buy oat milk.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, I was wondering why people on Twitch.
Everyone's out of oat milk.
Oat milk. What? Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah, Oatly. Oatly is like the hot, like the Gucci of oat milk, apparently. And then I think there's a shortage because it's a smaller company that's manufacturing it, and then Starbucks is buying all of the oat milk or all the.
But
Oatly.
then they are also, or at least all the ones around here, are all out of oat milk.
Yeah.
On top of that,
okay.
So
why is oat milk? Is there like a soy milk reason people can't have soy intolerance? Is it better for the world? Why the oat milk craze?
Like I think before oat milk, it was almond milk, and almonds are terrible for the environment.
Yeah, so like oat milk is supposedly way more sustainable than almond milk, which guzzles water by the gallon to produce, or almonds do rather. So like oat milk is better in that way, but I've just come to realize very recently that oat milk is like bursting with sugar. Like there's a shitload of sugar in it.
Yeah,
which is apparently a byproduct of the process that they use to make it. Like I don't think we're not at the end of the alt milk road.
Yeah,
just yet.
Exactly. Where does it lead?
Yeah.
We need to get on the next stop of
right.
This.
I was just reading an article about how like the next thing in alt milk is like derived. It's some kind of derivation from like an algae protein.
Alt
or something.
Milk? Algae milk. Yeah.
Or something. I'm not quite.
Still
Stick
stuck
that
on
on a
alt
box.
milk.
Alt milk. Alt underscore milk.
Milk.
Control alt milk.
Yes.
God.
Yep.
Your California's not a boba shortage too?
Oh,
Yes,
don't get me
that.
started. Do not get me started.
Are you okay?
Tapioca.
You know how many of my circles are collapsing right now?
Yeah,
I had a friend that works at like a boba shop say like, yo, I'm low-key hoarding boba and I'm going to sell that shit back to the company.
Back to the company.
It's man, there's so it's
on that
different
boba grind.
I gotta go to a grocery store after this. I gotta go to an Asian grocery store after this and accumulate some boba.
Dude, man, just gotta start hoarding.
Wow.
Just start hoarding. It's rough out there.
All these,
Good Lord.
Big wigs
It really is.
in their mansions drinking boba oat milk and
Almonds.
opening their Pokemon cards.
Telling you,
Looking
man.
down on us.
God,
That's what happens.
At least you just named 3 of my friends. My life is collapsing around me.
Speaking of cutthroat, MLB The Show 21 is on an Xbox near you.
Yeah,
For free.
That's right.
They made that happen. They made that for free. Yeah, well, for free in quotes, but yes.
Oh yeah.
On both an Xbox and Xbox Game Pass, you can play MLB The Show 21, or on a PlayStation if you feel like it.
Right. Yes. They are selling it on the PlayStation as they have over the years, and then MLB themselves have put it onto the Xbox, and so now you've got an Xbox game that boots up with a PlayStation logo.
Okay, that was my first question: is did that logo make it into the software?
The PlayStation Studios logo build thing is in there. The Sony Interactive Entertainment Presents thing in the Sony font, like the way that they write all their credit fonts, like that screen is right there.
And that whole animated PlayStation Studios with the flippy symbols.
The Sony San Diego Studio logo is in there. It's
man.
Does it feel like they lingered on it longer because it's on Microsoft?
I don't know. We'd have to time it and try to compare.
Here's a real question: Did they pull that trick where you don't see that stuff after the first time on the Xbox version?
Right. No, I don't know. That I don't know. I've only launched it from scratch once, and I don't. Hey, it's baseball. I don't know the actual game part of the game. I played some of the retro mode, and it's like it's kind of the game I'm looking for when I'm looking for a baseball game, but they also maybe stripped it down a little too much in some ways.
Which is what are you looking for in a baseball game?
It's kind of like Griffey for the SNES, is what that retro mode is kind of trying to recreate in a lot of ways. The first Griffey, which is the good one as far as I'm concerned. And all the stuff, player creation, all that other stuff. I don't know if there's any feature differences between the two. I'd be interested to see if there was anything they'd get away with. But also, this game doesn't seem like it supports smart delivery. It seems like Sony brought dumb delivery to the Xbox as a part of this, because there are two product pages for it, unlike everything else on Xbox that is just like, here's the game and it'll download the right version. I went to the Game Pass app and the first. So Microsoft needs to get better about like updating all of their touch points at 9 o'clock or when a game is released, like doing it across the board. Because there are cases where like the Game Pass app on the console doesn't show it, but the one on phone does. And hey, if you have a URL, you can get to it that way. And it's just like weird stuff like that they need to get a little better at. But let me scroll down here and see if it is still this way. But there were two different tiles. And so I actually initially started downloading the Xbox One version of the game, and then had to cancel that and download the Series X version of the game because there were two separate entries for it. And I think that it is now just showing one. Oh, okay. Now when I go in to recently added for Game Pass, they have MLB The Show. This is weird. MLB The Show 21 Xbox One, and that is listed as being developed by San Diego Studio. But MLB The Show 21 Xbox Series X Pipe S is listed as San Diego Studio, and then in parentheses, Sony Interactive Entertainment America. I don't know why the difference is there. That's also a little weird, but yeah. So they've got two entries, and I'm guessing that this is tied to they are charging $70 for it if you want the Series X version of that game, just like they would on a PlayStation 5. So I'm guessing that's why that had to happen, because they didn't want to charge $70 for the Xbox One version, which is seeing like Sony's policies about pricing and stuff like that reflected on the other side like this. You look at it and go like, this really sticks out as crazy over here.
Wait, has Microsoft not made that move yet? Are they not
70? I mean, they have not made the move to putting out brand new games on the Xbox at all, I guess, in some ways. But
I guess you're right. Now that you mentioned has a game shipped from them since November? I guess not.
The console version of Gears Tactics, right?
Sure.
Like that. Is that the only? But that was out on PC before, so even that has a precedent.
God, I shipped a brand new game on that console yet.
But I want to say, so there was, but NBA, like there were some third-party games, like NBA 2K that went 70 on PlayStation.
But that's still up to the individual publisher, though, right?
Right. Yes. And I don't remember what they charged for their Xbox version. That was 70 there as well, or not. But that probably might have gotten weird around like, hey, if you want to buy your cross-gen bundle version and all other stuff that some of those publishers have done around that. So maybe it got caught up in that. Let's see if I can Google up a price here. Okay. Yeah. So they were 70 on Xbox. It looks like anyway. It's hard now because that game is discounted everywhere because it's a sports game. But yeah, it looks like at launch that was 70. So at least some third parties went 70, but I don't think we've seen an example of Microsoft publishing a full-on first-party game yet. So we don't know what they would charge, but it'll be on Game Pass anyway, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's baseball.
And it's baseball. Yeah.
Okay.
You can create players and all this other, it's got all the modes. I'm not really the guy to speak to, hey, what do they do over last year and stuff? Like I'm interested in checking out the retro mode and all of their stuff, but then people get into like, well, you got to buy some stubs and all the microtransactions and stuff that they have done to that franchise over the years, and I just look at it and go like, all right, this is I am not interested enough in baseball video games these days to engage with most of that stuff. But it looks real nice, as it has for a good long time, and it's higher res, all the stuff that you kind of expect from a current gen version of that game, I suppose.
It's the retro mode look like the current gen.
Yes, it does. Like they strip out a lot of the animations, and there's a lot of, it feels like there's a lot of or they play a lot of the animations, but it doesn't connect as smoothly in some cases because they want like a really snappy throw, or when you slide the pitcher, or things they did in specifically to kind of evoke old games, the pitcher will just kind of magically slide back and forth on the mound if you want. It's just and it's really weird to see it with like these super high res nice models. Just doing those types of non-animations and stuff.
My favorite,
it's weird.
My favorite thing they do in that mode is if you have somebody like on second, they have like a camera for stealing, but it has like either no lighting or it like looks like a even shittier looking camera, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's deliberate or not, but like yes, the base cameras when you've got someone on base look terrible. I think it's a lighting thing. Yeah, there's something real off there. Yeah. I wonder if that looks better on PlayStation or not. I wonder if there's any cases where they're just like, whatever, we'll fix it maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I wish I knew it was in previous years, because this is the first one I've ever played, and I play like Super Mega Baseball for the past couple of years fairly frequently, but I don't know, it always just seemed like I know hockey games and stuff have gotten so far away from me since old games and stuff, but I've been really, really enjoying this. The craziest thing about the intro to me was just like these poor games are labored with so many different ways to play them, because they put you through like 5 different option modes for like how you want like pitching to work, like which control system you want for hitting and fielding and like base running. Like there's all these different legacy control schemes, including the new one, I guess, which is, I think it's called Pinpoint Pitching, which is actually like for a mini game within like the play, like for a way to manage pitching. It's kind of interesting because it's like both directional based, like on the left stick, I think it is, you have to aim, you have to like follow like a like almost like a David Cage-esque quick time sort of up and around, but you have to do it on like a certain timing, and then at the end of it you have to like flick it as well to get, there's like numerous timing windows on it, and it's actually like pretty engaging. And if you miss it, you can tell like, oh, this like slider kind of cuts a little bit too much, or this fastball like loses pace at the end. Like I found that at least to be pretty interesting. And I think the other thing that I sort of came into this not understanding really was like, I went straight into an exhibition game, of course, and I got to the 5th inning and I was like, I have to go to bed. This is like taking too long. This is a bad game.
Like real baseball, right?
Yeah, to like play for this, like this long. But there's like loads of really interesting like shorter modes in it. Like they have their, I guess it's like Road to the Show mode, which is their, created character. But you like start off in a AA team, which is like, I was playing with the Midland Rockhounds or whatever, the Oakland A's feeder team in Texas. And my old team in Maryland, the Bowie Bay Sox, are in it too. And like you can only play like when you're pitching. And apparently it's the first time in this mode you can both field and pitch at the same time, I guess, in the career mode. But it's cool because it'll like drop you out and then you'll come back in and then you'll be at bat. And then, I had my little time at first base, and it was kind of fun. And then the coolest thing I saw was that, you remember the Padres got like a no-hitter last week. So they have this thing called Moments, which I'm not sure if that's been in previous versions, probably has, where they have scenarios that have played out recently, and also classic ones that you can replay. So I got to replay the last like 3 innings of that no-hitter, and on like a 2-1 pitch, the last guy, I gave him a double. I was like so pissed off. Like right to the end, and it was like failed. But that seems good because that's a cool way to get me to play that game for the 10 to 15 minutes that I would enjoy a game of Super Mega Baseball, without having to commit. Because that's how I play FIFA. It's how I play Madden. Like whenever I do Madden, I just play offense. Like I just skip all the other stuff. So that's cool. I think it's like cool that at least it caters to that stuff. And they have this weird
trying to find a way to
they have this weird create a stadium mode, which I think is only in the new versions, which also, I saw somebody put a UFO in a cornfield already, so that's pretty cool.
Okay, that's pretty good.
You can download.
I saw like it appeared to be like a logo creator and being able to share player-made logos, I think, in there too. That's be fun in a wrestling game way of who made the dumbest thing possible.
I've already seen a WCW logo in there, so
perfect, great, yeah.
Is there any way to recreate those monsters, those utterly grotesque glitches from MLB The Show 17? Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Right. Yes. Hopefully there's a toggle in there somewhere. But
I just pulled those fucking things up, and like I swear to God, I feel like I'm going to throw up every time I look at those things.
What is it like? Was it face model stuff?
Genuinely. Oh my! Have you not seen this?
I don't think so.
Oh my God! It is. I'm going to send it to Jan. I don't know if he's able to throw it on the stream. Also, I apologize to people listening to the audio version of this. But on the other hand, you were better off if you don't.
Oh God, this thing.
It's my God.
They have my name in the game as well, which I was speaking of audio. Yeah, they have Danny and they have Dwyer, so I'm pretty good. I'm pretty happy. Okay, I'll take it.
Right, you could put something together there. I just in a world where Big Chungus is now like officially part of the fiction from which it spawned, I'm maybe a little shocked these things have not made it back.
Oh no!
I know, no, dude, it's genuinely some of the most disgusting looking. It's so bad. Oh my God!
God!
I cannot look at it.
Beautiful.
I can't look at it. There's like, I shouldn't send it.
It looks like a ashtray.
There's a front view. There's a front view of the one that is even worse because it's looking right at you. Oh my God.
Oh, there's another.
Why am I doing this to this podcast?
I don't need this. I
can't help it.
I can't.
I don't need to. I don't need to see it either, but I can't stop myself.
God!
He's looking right at you.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
There's nothing.
Anyway, the MLB The Show official.
Nothing official from MLB The Show can ever top that stuff. Apologies to the developers.
Horror mode. You should do it for Halloween or something.
Right.
Oh man, totally. Yes, they should put
October.
Yes, they should do a seasonal event. Are there any logos when you boot up the Xbox version that implies any other studios were involved in like porting it? Because if not, I just like to envision that like, San Diego studio had to take a big shipment of Xbox dev kits or something.
Right. I think that's what happened. I did not see any other logos on there, and they're they were like Instagram, follow us on Instagram at Sony San Diego. Like they're really promoting the core studio in there. So I assume that they did there it is. Yes, Danny's got it behind him. It's like,
oh wow. Yeah, look at that. That's sure enough. That is a PlayStation game running on an Xbox.
Oh wow! Look, it's the symbols.
I wonder if you think they just like hang on to those dev kits. I guess. I mean,
they got to make it next year too, right?
They'll have to do another one next year, right? So
I wonder if they just like have to silo those off and say only these employees are cleared to touch both, and now you can never work on something secret for PS6 or because you might bring the but like also the consoles are out, so maybe there aren't really secrets in there anymore anyway. But
probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. Okay. All right. Well, we've gotten all that out of our system now. Thank you for the report on baseball for the year. Anybody play any more Pac-Man 99?
I have pretty much fallen off it. I kept kind of coming back to it for a few days there, and then I was just like, maybe I'm not having a great time with this thing.
I'm kind of starting to feel a little lukewarm on that thing. Like my pattern at this point is like fire it up and play a couple matches and then instantly bomb out of it and go play Tetris instead. Because if I want that, I think Tetris is just a better game. I don't know. I feel like I haven't like cracked the code on that thing. I've never quite drilled down to what it is they want me to be doing in that thing.
They don't make it that easy. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't. The like pat your head, rub your tummy of play Pac-Man while also trying to keep track of what else is going on doesn't feel all that engaging. Whereas I think in Tetris, it can be kind of exhilarating. And the badges stuff in Tetris, I think kind of makes it a little easier to parse like what's going on where. Yeah. And I just don't think Pac-Man has anything that quite does that, and it just feels off.
I mean, Pac-Man does have the badge stuff in a similar form.
Yeah,
it's just a lot harder to keep up with. I mean, I think like Tetris just has that ability to kind of take a step back for a second, except for in that final phase of the game where things are dropping faster than you can even manipulate.
Sure, yeah.
You can always just not drop a piece for a second and like take stock of what you're doing. In Pac-Man, I mean, I guess you could stall in a corner in Pac-Man, right? Like that's.
Yeah, but if there are ghosts nearby, that's not going to go well. Right. And then as the game proceeds, you're probably going to have more and more ghosts in that maze, and I don't know.
You're in the deep end from the get go, and you never get a chance to breathe.
Yeah, it doesn't feel multiplayer in the same way that Tetris does when it's at its best. You really feel like you're actually competing against people. This is just like doing everything I can just to survive this ridiculous game of Pac-Man, and like.
I wonder how much of that is because Tetris like has been a multiplayer game before, and the basic concepts of like, you do well at Tetris, here's how you fuck another player over in the process, and Tetris 99 just kind of blows that out into a higher player count, whereas like Pac-Man's never quite been this, and so it's maybe just not as smooth of a fit.
Yeah. And a lot of it is just presentation, like you've just got the big meter on the side of your Tetris thing where it's like, okay, I can see that 12 lines are about to drop on my ass if I don't do something about it very quickly. And like that combo mechanic is very straightforward of just like, hey, I know like getting 5 lines in a row is better than getting one Tetris as far as clearing the junk out before it drops on me, and it's just, you can just focus on countering the shit that people send at you in like a very strategic way. Whereas in this, I just don't know what I'm doing besides playing Pac-Man poorly all the time.
Yeah.
It's a valiant effort. Like, I'll give it to them that they are experimenting with this formula, like straight off the heels of Mario 35 and everything. But
it feels more like a 99 versus 100 than a battle royale game.
Yeah,
like,
kind of.
I just feel like I'm independently trying to do my best.
Right.
Yeah. There's less like, the battle royale is supposed to feel a lot more like you said, like Tetris feels at least like you're sort of like mano a mano against somebody.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel so much like that.
There's a, for sure, a give and take there. I do hope they keep cranking these out though. I'd love to see them experiment with this stuff some more. Somebody wrote in the phrase Galaga 99 to the email address this week.
That'd be
maybe.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah,
it'd be easier to throw junk on screen, I guess.
Like, yeah, I guess so. I could see.
I would do like a gap plus 99 because it has that capture beam where you capture enemy ships with it, and so you could have that be the thing that sends more ships over to the other side or something. Like
a lot of folks were saying last week, like Donkey Kong 99.
Huh. Interesting.
More barrels.
Yeah. Is that like fun enough of a game though to like? I don't know.
I think that game would just be Mario 35, but with 4 levels instead of 32. Probably.
Seeing some, what do we got here? Some Lumines 99, Puzzle Fighter 99 in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Mega Man 99.
Mario Kart 99.
Boss battles.
Oh, dude. Tempest 99. Get Jeff Menner on the phone.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what Jeff Menner would do with a 99-player multiplayer game.
Yeah,
keep them coming.
Cool.
Keep them coming. Maybe they'll hit it again at some point. But,
yeah, I mean, I like that. They're kind of screwing around with this stuff for the online service because it's not like I'm using the online part of it very much. Yes. So at least there's something
experimental Nintendo is my favorite Nintendo.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of it's a pretty slow week/month. I mean, we got some stuff at the end of the month. Like Returnal is coming out. End of next week for PS5. Or Resident Evil is like 2-3 weeks off, but we're in kind of a lull. It just feels like it's going to be a lot of this year.
Pokemon Snap next week, baby.
Yeah, Pokemon Snap, right.
There you go.
There was something else.
The MotoGP game is coming out in 2 days. I'm excited for that. Looks pretty good. So, but yeah.
Sorry, Jason, you were saying something?
Oh, I've been trying to branch out and just try and find something else to play, but I keep falling back on Monster Hunter and a little bit about Riders here and there. But I'm content with Monster Hunter for sure. But I feel the pressure to play something new every week, or at least try to. But
it's gonna be
a lot out there right now.
It's gonna be weird for a while. This stuff gets pushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been playing some Outriders, but then I got kind of spooked by some of the inventory loss stuff going around, and I was like, maybe I'll hold off for a little bit. And
same. I had a weird experience when I came back to that thing after I did that stream with you guys, where like they're very flexible about letting you jump back and forth in the story. You know, you can just roll yourself back to a previous like narrative milestone if you want. Jump around between areas, like all that stuff. Mine just has a gigantic gap in the middle with a bunch of lock icons on it now, where I can play any of those later missions that I played with you guys, because I guess I've unlocked them now. Right. And I can roll back to the first chapter, but I can't play anything in between that I hadn't done yet.
Oh, that's cool. That's wild.
So yeah, like I would think they would just unlock everything up to that point, but it's just like kind of a strange setup for that thing. But
yeah.
Anyway, weird. I think that's games for now.
That's games.
All right.
That's games.
That's right. Yep, that's right. All right. Well, on that note, why don't we take another quick break and come back with some emails? See you in a minute.
Hey, do you want to get premium wireless service that starts at just $15 a month? It sounds crazy, right? There's got to be a catch, right? But Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. So there's no catch. By cutting out retail stores, they don't have the crazy overhead costs that get passed down to you in the form of mystery fees. Instead, Mint just passes the sweet savings direct to you. So, you know, if you're looking for extra savings, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. That's unlimited talk and text and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can bring your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan. Keep your same phone number, your contacts, all that stuff. And if you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with a 7-day money-back guarantee. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/bomb. That's mintmobile.com/bomb. Cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/bomb. Grubhub has all the food you love from all your favorite local restaurants, and now you can get deals on that food you love with Grubhub perks. Grub what you love with Grubhub. Take a break from cooking and order that food you love from your favorite restaurants with Grubhub. It's family friendly. They got perks on pizza, tacos, sushi, and more, providing a variety of options for all the picky eaters in your house. And you can try something new. With Grubhub and all the local restaurants in your area, you can try a variety of cuisines. And they've got pickup. You can order ahead and pick up your favorite food from your favorite restaurants on Grubhub. Get the food you love with perks from Grubhub. Grub what you love.
Emails, I got them. Bombcast@thegiantbomb.com.
Let me at 'em.
Email address that they were sent to. Here they are. First email comes in from. This email was signed Tippo Winkle.
Oh, from the Teletubby. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yes. Howdy, bomb thing. This is Tippo Winkle writing to you from the bowels of a Lucky Charms factory in Minnesota. My question is,
should I be offended?
I don't know. Well, here's the question. You can make up your mind. My question is, who is the baldest character in video games? And if I may add one follow-up, which character is the least bald?
Fucking Tobias Reaper, Hitman.
Oh God,
Right.
I guess
But
you're
he's-
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a little coloring on the back, so he's not completely.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Does a
His
Goomba
head could be
count?
bigger.
Is a Goomba
What's-
bald?
Oh, Goomba, yeah.
Or is that fur?
Oh.
Is it a furry mushroom?
Oh yeah, I could. That's a good point.
Is it Stone Cold Steve Austin of WWF Attitude for the Dreamcast?
Suppose that's possible. That's possible.
Was there big head mode in that? Because then that would be more bald.
Probably.
bigger the head.
Yeah, they might have. Yeah.
Does Voldo have any hair on his body in any of his various incarnations?
Oh, Voldo has
Yeah,
hair.
but you don't
I've
want
seen
to.
lots. Yeah.
Okay.
He's
Yeah, maybe I
got
shouldn't.
strips here and there.
Let's leave that alone.
Trails.
Oh, a good shout from chat. Krillin from any of the
Okay.
Dragon Ball Z games.
Okay.
Okay.
What was that old platform? Chucky Egg or what was that? Remember the old
Yeah.
Amiga?
Dizzy.
Remember? Oh God,
chuck the
Disney,
egg
of
and
course.
stuff. Yeah.
The Prince of Yokefolk himself, he's bald the whole way over.
Did
Yeah.
help me out? Did we ever find out what's going on under Marcus Phoenix's do-rag?
Not a lot.
Yes, he takes it off at the end of Gears 3, and I think he's got hair.
He does? Oh shit!
Of course he does.
Yeah, at the end of the trilogy. Ugh.
Violins are
Finally
playing.
get to see.
Right.
Okay.
Who's got the
Least
most
bald? Yeah, who's the least
least
bald?
Who's the most Captain Caveman
Oh,
of them all?
I mean, Captain Caveman was probably in a Wacky Races game for the Dreamcast.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Bayonetta.
oh, yep.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, not bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a very good one. It's all hair.
Yeah,
All hair.
That might just
Clothes,
be the
everything.
answer.
It's all hair. Yeah.
That might just be the answer, actually.
I was gonna say Tomba because that's a nice
That's
mane
a-
of hair.
Is there a
Super
hairy
Saiyan
Pokemon?
3. Oh, Tangela, but that's Vines.
Oh, Mr. Mime.
Oh, Mr. Mime's got hair everywhere.
Yeah.
It's all hair.
There's no hair at you.
No, well, there's
Come to my DeviantArt if you want to see Harachu.
yeah. It's like the mock-up designs for Detective Pikachu.
Come to my OnlyFans.
Whoa, boy. Okay, well, on that note, I think we have our answers. Oh boy. Let's see here. Martin from Edinburgh. When loading up Monster Hunter Rise, it was heartening to see the Speed Tree logo. Has any other non-engine tech or middleware had such an enduring popularity? I've always got a soft spot for my homie Bink Video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love the rad game tools.
Yes.
Red King.
I mean, it's right there in the name.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I'm trying to think of the old Capcom stuff. God damn it!
Scale form. What up to Wise? Wise.
Huh? Sure. Yes.
Shout out to Havoc,
Okay. No.
Irish company too.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was founded by Stephen O'Connor, is an ex-CS lecturer in Trinity. He taught my brother. I think they're based over here though, but all the founders are Irish guys.
Yeah, they got bought up by Microsoft, I want to say.
That makes sense.
Or Nvidia. I forget. I think it was Microsoft. Yeah. A lot of good middleware out there, but I think SpeedTree does stand alone.
Yeah.
I looked into if we could do a doc on those guys. They're based
that would
somewhere
be so
in
good.
like, it's like somewhere like North Carolina or somewhere like that.
Wait,
That'd
really?
be. Yeah, they're
I mean,
they're in the
you wanna-
States. There's some.
You want a lot of good source material. There's worse places to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got trees.
We got a tree farm out there
For sure.
scanning the hell out of them.
Gotta look into
They have
that
a
again.
they have a nice website. Lexington, South Carolina. Okay.
Okay.
The lesser Carolina, but still
Is that where the McElroys are? They in?
West Virginia, I believe.
Are they in
yeah.
West Virginia? Aren't they? Yeah.
Yes, I can see how they might
Oh,
see how they might all run together. I get it.
I feel bad now. I did live in that general area for a while.
Yeah, you're kind of. Well, were you above or below the Mason-Dixon? That's the real question.
Slightly above. It depends on
Okay,
if it's the
yes.
summer, it feels like it's below.
Yeah. You get back to California, I think you're perfectly allowed to forget the geography of the East Coast completely. That's our specialty.
Yes, a world
Delaware?
unto itself here. Let's see. Baird from Norway. I regularly bring my PlayStation 4 with me when I'm traveling for work and hijack the HDMI on the hotel TV. How much of a hassle will it be to bring a PS5 whenever I get a hold of one of those instead? Will it be worth it? I don't know, man.
I need so
I
much
could see.
space for that damn thing.
Yeah, that dude.
Yeah.
A, it is just fucking huge. B, like those fins seem a little flimsy, and like I could see something bad happening with the fins getting bent or, God forbid, like broken if they got pressure put on them in the wrong way.
And you probably want to bring the stand with you also, whether you're standing it up on its side or not. Like that's kind of.
Or alternatively, you could leave both the stand and the fins at home. Take it all off.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see.
A fully naked PS5 would certainly be a little bit easier to like pack in the middle of some clothes.
I'd be
That's
worried to
something
move
like
it
that.
though, you know, like
Yeah.
to have it in a hold or like it's so
I just-
it's so testy
Totally.
already. Like
totally.
Don't touch it.
And on top of that, it's like something happens to it, you're not easily just going to go out and buy another one at the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth it.
Pelican case. There you go.
I don't. Yeah, or maybe just like maybe test out remote play. See if
You could
maybe just
hotel internet is always so bad.
Hotel internet is some shit.
There's
for
no
sure.
way,
If you wanted to ball out and you wanted to get multiple consoles, you could go an Xbox Series S. Those things are tiny.
Or might I recommend the Nintendo Switch?
Sure.
Yeah.
You don't even need a hotel console.
That's right. I brought my Switch to the last E3 that we had to travel to physically and plugged it into the hotel TV, and the latency was like astonishing. It was like a second and a half between pressing a button and something happening. I could not believe it. Like, it was completely unplayable. So
got to find game mode on the hotel TV.
Yeah, it's not easy to find. Let's see here.
Get a gaming laptop, maybe. That's probably the way to go.
That works.
Get a slim PS2.
Yeah.
Get a PS1. ONE.
I pulled the slim PS2 out of storage a couple weeks ago. Thing is still astonishing. It's alarmingly small.
Yeah.
Thing, like, in my mind, the thing is like the thickness of a credit card. It's like it's not even there. You can just like bend it.
Yeah. It's weird.
The thinnest console. They don't call it slim for nothing. That's for sure. Let's see. Email from Daniel. This is a question I've asked myself multiple times, and I don't think I've figured out a reliable answer. What is a good video game to play while I'm high out of my mind on my exercise bike and also listening to your podcast?
Wait, on your exercise bike?
Why? I can't get past. Why would you want to get on an exercise bike when you're high out of your mind? I can't.
So you don't feel the burn.
I guess.
Yeah.
Just
push through the pain.
Mind over matter.
In fairness, he doesn't say what he's high on, so
life maybe. Yeah, there we go.
Could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
I can't wait for an article to pop up out after this Bombcast is published, exactly detailing the games we'll say, because someone is going to write it up.
Think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm going to say Paperboy.
Okay. I think there's just too much precision in that game.
Sure, but you just kind of want to put yourself in the moment.
That's true.
Your legs are going on the bicycle.
You probably don't care if you're good at the game. You probably just like whatever. Like Paperboy, it's good music. I think the music in Paperboy would probably accompany the podcast pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, Paperboy might be a solid choice.
Peggle.
Okay.
Oh, Peggle's good.
Yeah.
Once you get to that last orange tile and like the chorus starts kicking in. Yeah.
What about like a Nobi Boy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wattom's pretty.
Wattom, yeah.
Wattom. Okay. Givalo in the chat says the only answer is BMX XXX.
No, that'll just make you sad. You'll have a bad trip.
Yeah, that's no good.
That's true. Yeah, maybe so.
I think, did I say on a previous Bombcast that we used to always find joints in those when they came into our GameStop?
No.
That was like the most common trade-in was BMX XXX, and also the one that most frequently had joints rolled up and stashed in them.
Like, you gotta, like, that's...
Were they trying to get more credit on the trade-in?
How do you not crack the case on anything you're about to turn, just to make sure?
Yeah, totally. It's happening all the time. It's probably because they were also like stolen. It's just the dark world of video game trade-ins. We used to have kids come in with like Waterford Library written on the fucking like movies they were trying to sell to us. Like it's literally like 40 feet away, guys. Come on.
Should I ask what happened to all of those joints?
In the trash.
Okay.
Cannabis resin's bad enough without it being some old joint you found. It could be 4 months old.
Right.
Who knows how long?
And laced with something fantastic.
Yeah. There's always that.
Glass.
Yes, there's always that. Yeah. Okay then. Ben from Brooklyn writes in about important Vin Diesel cross John Cena news.
Ooh.
Saw this incredible Vin Diesel quote and thought of you guys. I looked this up. This came out of some press conference he just gave recently. The quote
already
is,
laughing.
I remember John Cena coming into this Dom shrine that I had where I would kind of go to meditate and train and start getting into that Dom state of mind.
He's talking about Dominic, his character, right?
Yeah. Not
yes. I assume. Okay. What else is there? That's what I thought.
Is John Cena a sub?
Right. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Yes. Pretty sure Dominic Toretto is what we're talking about here, but
okay. All right.
Also, apparently, I pulled up an article on this. Elsewhere in this press conference, he confided that he believes that Cena was sent to him by the ghost of Paul Walker.
Yeah, I mean,
he basically said the spirit of Paul Walker delivered John Cena to those movies.
Yes, we all know that John Cena is represented. His agent is the ghost of Paul Walker. It's if you want to book Cena for something, you must contact the ghost of Paul Walker.
You also can't see him.
Yes, of course.
Of course. You could feel him.
Too soon. No.
What do you think is in the Dom Shrine?
Pictures of cars. A picture of The Rock with a like a X through it.
A DVD player to remind him of his roots.
Maybe a copy of The Wheelman.
Little rock voodoo doll with a bunch of pins in it.
The glasses from Riddick. Or Pitch Black or whatever.
Yes, those knives.
I gotta say that trailer looks outstanding.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The trailer that came out just last week, the new Fast and Furious 9 trailer really blew me away on every single level. I think John
generating some buzz.
Yeah, I think John Cena's ability to look like pissed, like that, just kind of jaw, just like just a little bit of a screw face, just really nailing it. It's something you haven't seen from him in a very long time, since he was wearing throwback baseball jerseys and disgustingly fucking tone deaf chains to the ring when he was a bad guy in the early days. Like, it's like that. And for this film, just perfect. And seeing Han with a sniper rifle, what more could you want out of a goddamn movie?
I don't know.
Is what I say, seeing that trailer.
Is this the first one for Cena?
Yes. Okay. So he'll be a good guy in the one after this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's the trajectory for every bad guy, is like, hey.
Him and Dom are going to have their own spin-off after this.
So we can do it too.
Do you think there's any plan in place to wrap this thing up, or does this just go and go and go?
Didn't they say they were going to do 12 and stop? Is that there was some?
I remember hearing 12. Yeah,
I think that's a good number. It's just a solid dozen.
Wow. And then spin-offs, of course, would maybe live on after that. But
sure.
Not if Hobbs and Shaw's the blueprint, but maybe you figure something like that out.
How did that do?
I don't know. I don't know. I refused to watch it.
Poorly.
Yeah, I felt like it came and went to me as a bystander. Did not feel like it really caught.
Yeah. But yeah, kind of like one. Yeah, I think people in chat are kind of saying like this is the pitch of it is like this is kind of leading towards a final trilogy or something like that. Which I guess that would be 11 if this is the first. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see where they end up. But
yes, right up until the 12th movie is the highest grossing film of all time, and then they can't stop.
Right.
Yeah. But that's what you do. That's why you do spin-offs. Like, even if the actors are kind of done with it, like, you can find a way for that thing to live on.
Totally.
One way or the other.
Was there any point in the first, let's say, like 6 movies or so, 5-6 movies, that anybody stopped for a second and thought to themselves, this is going to be the biggest thing going one day in all of entertainment?
Maybe 5?
I feel like, 5 by 5 or 6 it kind of was, or like was already kind of there. Like 4
maybe I should have said like the first 3 movies or something like that, or even the first one.
Maybe not.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember seeing Tokyo Drift and thinking like, oh, well, this is going to be the last one of these, huh?
I really just felt like, I feel like the name Fast and Furious was just like a punchline for a long time. And then all of a sudden,
And like the third one, didn't even have most of the characters in it, because it was like, oh, well, they want more money or they want to go do something else and they're not sold on this thing as a franchise or whatever. So they went off and did that other one in a way that, like, as much as I love that movie, you look at it in the context of it and you're like, they're not going to make any more of these. Or if they are, they're all going to be direct to video because this is not on the same like star power level of the first 2 movies. And then they got everybody back into the fold for the 4th one and
isn't it
never
amazing
fucking looked back.
that none of them have gone straight to streaming or DVD?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
a world where there's like 6 Marine movies.
Right. I mean, they were one of the holdouts, right? They were like, fuck it. We're like, they pushed back a full year. They're like, we're not putting this movie out until we can actually put it in front of people and make our money back. I mean, I guess it's probably the actual answer, but
yeah, Warner Brothers and like Disney caved. They wound up pushing a bunch of stuff to do streaming same day also.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
But they know
Mortal Kombat movie.
Fast 9, you know.
God, that said, not making any plans to go to a movie theater to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's still that aspect of it that's just like,
well, when is it out? Does it even have a date yet? Oh, June. Oh, wow, that's soon, huh? Okay, yes, no. I would say no.
Right.
I would steer clear of that in June.
I really want to watch an anime movie this week in theaters.
Oh?
Yeah. I really do, but my partner knows nothing about it. And I already dragged her to a Dragon Ball movie way pre-quarantine. She's not thrilled about that.
You already cashed in all your anime capital.
Yeah.
Damn it, Dragon Ball.
Let's see here. Jordan from Grand Haven, Michigan. I was listening to last week's show when you guys were discussing video games crossing over into mainstream culture and VTubers when I stopped my car to get gas. On the screen on the gas pump, there was a video segment framed as a news show, and they were showing short clips of, quote, Rage Quit of the Week. What followed was a bite-sized segment of various clips of streamers playing Madden, FIFA, and Fortnite. It was an odd experience to listen to you all talking about games in this context, only to have such a surreal little moment at the pump of a marathon station. Keep up the good work.
Of a marathon station.
That's weird. I assume that is a regional chain or something, but like,
yeah,
Rage
I'm
Quit
familiar with marathon. Yeah,
that's just like trying to Bungie's chain of gas stations. I went in. This is a couple of years ago now, but there's a place here in town. It's a steakhouse. Anyway, it's a restaurant, and not like super fancy. They got a big bar also, but it's not like a chain. And sat down to eat, and on the TVs, where I got the impression that maybe they would probably show sports normally or something, but they were showing a channel that was just nonstop fails. So it was just like America's Funniest Home Videos 24/7 without Bob Saget and more fucking ripping guitar of dudes falling off bikes and getting hit in the nuts and like all this stuff. Army. And that stuff. Yeah, exactly. And like the idea of like Rage Quit of the Week just feels like siphoned right out of that same pipeline somehow.
Playing on a gas pump.
So what happened? Yeah, I was going to say, like, that's ridiculous. But what happens when... So, okay, how much demographic data do you think they can get on you by you running a credit card at the pump? And when can they personalize those and know, like, well, you've spent money on this credit card buying video games, so we know to serve you this, and this while you're here at the pump, and then that's advertise dark, this. Man. We know you've been inside to buy hot dogs before. Here's a button you can push to get a deal on a hot dog if you come inside.
Are they hot dog come out of the pump?
Yes.
Are we at the point of photographic recognition of what kind of car you drive and matching that up against demographic trends?
Oh yeah, I guess we could take that. I mean, yeah, why stop at the credit card and just go straight to facial recognition?
Way, right? Yes. I don't know, man. I've got this idea that's not fully formed about Paul Verhoeven. Like, I kind of think of it as the Verhoeven rule of specifically applied to mass media. If it seems too on the nose for a Verhoeven movie, it's probably too much, Like,
yeah, I could. But also, if it seems like too much for a Verhoeven movie, they're gonna do it.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Like, fuck. Most prescient filmmaker in history, perhaps.
Yeah.
Do you think society just looked like that to Verhoeven the entire time? Because he is like a European in America, right? And like media here is really different. So I wonder.
Have you ever heard the stories about how he made Starship Troopers, where he got through like the first chapter of the book and then like threw it in the trash? He was just fuck this. I am doing this my way. I am going to tell my own story with this. Yes.
It's incredible to go back and watch reviews of Starship Troopers. Like, with people not really twigging the satire of it, which, considering his previous work, seems ridiculous.
Holy shit, man!
Right.
Yeah, I mean, hey, let's say we've all grown culturally in the last decade, perhaps. But like, I saw a frame of Neil Patrick Harris in uniform in that movie a while back, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, could this be any more blatant? Like, holy shit!
Yeah,
they did a 4K press of it. During quarantine, I guess, last year, I got it. It's real good. It has a director commentary on it as well, which not many 4K rips do. So
yeah. Yes, the man is a visionary. Let's see here. CJ in Nashville. I was recently able to get an Xbox Series X and was thinking of giving my Xbox One X to my brother, who still has a launch Xbox One model. Just out of curiosity, I checked the resale prices on the One X, and used consoles are still selling anywhere between $300 and $500 used, which is crazy, seeing as how I got mine on sale 3 years ago for $400. Am I missing something here? Is this discontinued model going to become a collector's item? Is this confusion over the model names? What would be the reasoning for this? It's the supply chain stuff. It's the go on eBay and look up graphics cards. Like, nobody can buy anything right now. People are paying like over MSRP for like 5-year-old graphics cards on eBay.
Really?
Like, yes, dude. It is crazy out there right now.
A little while ago, I bought a pre-built PC because I got tired of the graphics card hunt and whatever. I need an upgrade anyway, so I was just like, well, I have to replace everything anyway. Why not overpay for a pre-built machine? And overpay I did. And that was supposed to ship tomorrow, I think, after a 3-week or maybe a month wait. And I got an email yesterday saying like, we're going to push that back 2 weeks. And they're citing like COVID. Dang. We're trying to be safe because we've had to shut down a couple of times. I'm like, is it that, or can you just not find the graphics card?
It's possible. It's entirely possible. Yes. Like everything is selling for over, like in a lot of cases, over what it costs to buy new, even if it's like 5 years old. Like you just cannot get stuff right now. It's bad. It's rough out there. But
and that's just trickling down to consoles as well.
Anything that uses microchips, basically. At this point.
Yeah, and like those consoles, so you get people who can't find the newest latest because they're impossible to find. So they're like, well, maybe I'll settle for an Xbox One X, which then more as more people do that, it drives up the price of that. And so that's why you've got, like Brad is saying, like graphics cards that are just like have no business selling for the prices that they are, like 1080s and stuff like that, going for ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah, you can sell a 1080 for more than it cost when it was new at this point.
That's stupid.
It's just completely ridiculous. I mean, I bought an office chair like 5 weeks ago. It still hasn't shipped because when I bought it, they were like, one of the parts we need to finish that chair is sitting on a ship off the coast of the United States and cannot dock at the moment. Like, just fucking everything has ground to a halt.
Stuck in the Suez Canal.
Yeah,
right.
Like it's a bad time to try to buy anything. So,
boba, Pokemon cards.
Yeah, man, tapioca. Cards. Yes, GPUs and tapioca. It's a real bad time. Nate in Boston. We generally assume every platform will be emulated eventually years later, but are there any platforms or games that you think won't be emulated due to either permanent limitations or lack of interest?
Ouya.
There's Ouya is Android.
It's just Android, right? So I can. I bet that stuff could just be ported fairly easily. Maybe.
Yeah. So you could probably do something there. For the longest time, this was what the original Xbox fell into. Is it was not super easy to emulate, and then there wasn't like an abundance of interest in it. That's changed a little bit more recently. So there's been some advancement there, but But I think that was one of the glaring ones for a lot of years. I just saw something saying that there's a decent N-Gage emulator out on Android these days. So that was kind of one of the other ones of just like, is anyone going to do this? Like, can I play Tapwave Zodiac games anywhere? Probably not.
Got to play phone games on your phone.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But like even that era of like pre-smart like feature phone games like J2ME and all that other stuff like is in some disarray. But I
think about that question a lot in the Mr. scene because it's in kind of a small scale where there's not that many developers working in it, and it's a very specialized skill set, so there's just not as many people around doing that work. And I think about that in the context of things like the CDI or the 3DO. Like, is anybody ever going to care enough to write a Mr. Core for the CDI? I cannot guarantee that.
I hope so, because the emulation story for CDI is actually quite incomplete. Also, there's like one dedicated emulator that I bought a couple of months ago, even though it hadn't been updated in years. I was like, here's $35, and it's not great at running Inca. And then MAME is not too great at running it either.
Interesting. I assumed on the software emulation side everything was just kind of done at this point, but I guess not.
It is and it isn't. There's like 3DO emulation on is quite good these days on a PC.
Well, then I can play the Horde, so fine.
Exactly.
Good.
Yes. Yeah. There are multiple ways to play the Horde, so you're set.
What about Wii U? Like maybe not a software issue so much as because like even Wii games is tricky with the motion controls, but Wii U it's like a multi-monitor. Like there's just a lot of
sure.
So the solutions they're doing for that is I think it's very similar to how they're doing DS and 3DS, where you're just like stacking two screens on top of each other when you need to see both, and you are using a gamepad and a mouse. So you're like using a mouse for the touch screen. Stuff.
Oh, wild!
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's how you do it with DS and with 3DS. Is you're generally using a mouse. Though, I mean, like if you're playing on a touchscreen device, I think there are touchscreen versions of some of those emulators also. But yeah,
and I think you can use straight up actual Wii controllers over Bluetooth, right? With Dolphin and some of the Wii emulation stuff.
Yeah, I bought a Dolphin bar. It's a USB device that has the Wii sensor in it and is also a Bluetooth dongle.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And so you can kind of sync Wii controllers to it very easily. And I used it once and went, this totally works, and then never used it again because I don't want to play Wii games, it turns out.
Yeah, that is a lot of the stuff, yes.
So I should have bought those Wii balance boards, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Exactly, yes.
But nothing compares to the feeling that you could play it at any time.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's really the goal, is just knowing it's there.
It's right here.
It's just knowing.
You could be playing Zombie U in 5 minutes.
That's right. I've had a weird interest in CDI ever since I found out about that third Zelda game on there. Not the shitty side scrollers, Wand of Gamelon and all that stuff, but the actual top-down Zelda game that looks like it's made out of digitized, like, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. All that stuff's a mess.
That actual Zelda game, I need to see that at some point.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one or two more emails. Well, let's make this the last email.
Okay.
This email says, you can keep this anonymous or not. I don't care. I'm going to,
all right.
I will leave it anonymous. When I was 13, I got into Neopets as a game to play with my sister. She really liked it, so I made an account to play and talk about it with her. She was 8, and I wanted to be a good big brother and make her happy. One day, I got the same offer Jan got.
Okay.
But thankfully, my dad was watching and correctly figured out it was a total scam. Now, me being 12 and not giving a shit about other people, I realized I could just copy that whole garble of text and send it to other kids through the in-game messaging and start ripping off kids wholesale. I eventually came up with my own scam to steal accounts where I would tell kids if they changed their email address to a Hotmail account I made that was called something like free neocoin hacks at hotmail.com, that in 2 hours they would get unlimited money. I would then go and request forgotten passwords, which would get sent to my burner and then take every single item they had.
Good Lord.
I was even smart enough to launder the stolen items through the other stolen accounts until it got back to my main account, and then give my sister that cool paintbrush she really wanted. I never did get caught, but I eventually got banned when I asked my Neopets girlfriend for pics of, well, you know, which is basically basically the Neopets version of busting Capone on tax evasion.
Who's amongst us?
Give me a break. I was a dumb, horny kid. It was shitty to do, but this was the Wild West of the internet, and we all did things back then that we look back on with shame and maybe just a little bit of pride.
I'm going to find this email and I'm going to link it to the user on the website and ban them.
You'll get your revenge one way or the other.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Neopets girlfriend? What?
This could have been the guy that ripped off Jan.
It could have been.
Very well could have been the guy.
Huh.
I've got his email address. We can talk later if you want to.
Yeah, we could
reach out.
Trace us back.
Reach out privately.
Send us the password to his email. We'll just go and check if John was one of the people that he emailed. Yeah.
Follow this thing.
I just want to know that my monkey Neopet is safe. That's all I want to know.
Great. That's the little things. All right.
I love the idea of his sister asking, like, where are you getting these from? Like,
there's like a weird.
Hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
When I got to that part, it was like there's this weird Robin Hood thing of like he is totally stealing from innocent kids, but he's trying to make his little sister happy, and I don't know how to feel about
Scarface or something.
Right.
Like,
yeah, boy. Yep. The internet used to be weird in a different way than it's weird now.
The crime was different.
Yes.
Different scale of crimes.
It was less ruinous to society, let's say.
Yeah, there's people generating FIFA coins, and there were people stealing Neopets.
That's right. That's right. Bombcast@giantbomb.com. That's it for emails. I don't think there's anywhere else to go from there. That's the final email for the week. Thanks to everybody who wrote in. Thanks to everybody who bore witness to those baseball monstrosities with us.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tubby custard.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us in the Dom Shrine.
Yeah. Next
dip
time,
into the
tubby from the Dom Shrine.
It's going to be a hard time naming this episode.
Thanks for dipping into the tubby custard. That's all I got. Thanks everyone for being here. Danny, thank you as always for joining us.
My pleasure.
We're going to call it into the podcast. See you next week. Thanks for listening. Bye.